Welcome to the 2022 NFL Draft Day 2 show. This is the Royal Alliance UK podcast. My name's Matthew Turner, alongside co-hosts Ant and Steve, the rest of the guys to be coming on when they can. How you doing, boys?
Well, good. Gone are the days of trading down. We're trading up.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm still not over yesterday's first round. I've still been trying to be going through that and deciphering what's gone on all day long, and still not there. And this round is apparently meant to be even more crazy. So God knows what we're going to get today. And it's just going to be trades, and it's going to be so hard to keep an eye on, but it's going to be fun as hell. So let's hope Brad's got some more tricks up his sleeves today and has some more GMs in mind that he wants to go fleece.
All in for the chaos.
And it is going to be chaos. All the rumours are mock at the start of this day 2 is that there's going to be a flurry of quarterbacks and wide receivers coming off the board. Obviously, there's a myriad of quarterbacks because not many were taken in round 1, and so people are seeing the value now in taking them. But also because so many wide receivers have gone, there's a perceived lack of value remaining, and so teams desperate for a wide receiver are needing to trade up to get them. So you can very much see how this is going to the logic behind that assertion, boys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what we were saying with the first round yesterday. You didn't know which position group was going to have a run on, but it's going to affect how everything else plays out. I said it would be receivers. I said we would have 8. I mean, we only ended up having 6, but they all went early, and now it's just caused a cascade, like you say, of teams who now need to go up and get a guy, because if they sit there and wait, they may just not get one, or they may be picking one a lot sooner than they want to. Because, I mean, in terms of your big receivers, all you've really got left now is you've got Christian Watson, but he's coming up from the FCS. So it's a huge sort of leap for him there. You've got Pickens, who, I really like, but some teams might not like the attitude issues in there. But you've got Sky Moore, he's again from Western Michigan. Again, sort of one of those guys you'd rather have a little bit later, but teams will need to go now. I mean, you look at teams just like the Bears that are sat there at 40. They desperately need a receiver. They might not even get one of them guys if they just sit and do nothing. That's how convoluted this wide receiver market is at the minute. But it makes for a fun draft. So you've got to be able to enjoy it from that aspect.
Just want to give a big shout out at the top of the show to David Rhymefor69 on Twitch, gifting another sub to Chris C. Shepherd in the Twitch chat. Appreciate you so much, along with everyone else who is joining us live. Dan Pask, the biggest Lions fan out there, as well as Big Arez, Ashley Sode, and Bill Collier, friend neighborhood Lions fan, and the rest of you guys who haven't yet commented in there too. We have got a terrific show lined up for you today, including guest appearances from Josh Edbo from Seahawks UK, Sean Black from NFL Scotland repping the LA Chargers, Indianapolis Colts UK, Brick Breaks representing Cincinnati Bengals, the UK Cowboys Fans, and Frampage, our resident Canadian Lions fan. I think we might also have one of our own Lions friends coming on as well to chat ball. It's going to be a really, really great show for you guys tonight. So really, really excited, not just for the draft, but just to talk with some really, really interesting characters. If you haven't listened to it already, there's still time for you to go and listen to this morning's show. We catch up on day 1 and look ahead to tonight. We were joined by 2 fantastic guests in Andres from the Jets UK podcast and Ewan from the Turn Up for What podcast. And if you want to be blown away by people's knowledge of the sport and ability to recall things just like that, stop watching this, because why would you watch this? Go and watch that. That was really good stuff.
Hang on, you watch this because me and Steve are here, so that's why you watch it. The money men are here.
Oh,
He only had 1 can as well.
So far. It was a long day yesterday, though, boys. I have to say, giving ourselves only about 3 hours sleep before prepping up for the show this morning absolutely killed me. And for Tom joining in and then going to his meeting and then whatever he's doing now, everyone who stayed up for the draft and went to work in the morning, I salute you guys, because I could not do that.
Yeah, that's brave. best to get the time off and just enjoy it as and when you can, really. But if you don't, it's all about the tactile naps. You've got to get the naps in there. Just get it right, and hopefully tonight done it just right to be able to get through right to the very end.
Every time we started to flag a bit yesterday, we had a guest that came on with bags of energy, and that sort of reinvigorated us. So that was good to have the guests on. And I mean, fair play to the Patriots fan who came on at 3:45, absolutely as fresh as paint.
Yeah, he looked fresh as daisy. I don't know how he did it. He's a right bastard. Love that guy. Det Fan Man says, "Hey fellas, I'm just here for Hank. To be honest, I don't know if he's going to be making an appearance tonight, but we're all just here for Hank, really, and we're just doing the podcast bit as a side hustle to that effect." So
he's asleep here, so you all see him.
Hey.
Actually, no. If you come sit here, you might see him soon.
What are some picks that you're kind of thinking are going to happen tonight? What do you think the Lions are going to do at 46? The guy that's 46 on the consensus board is Sam Howell, the quarterback from North Carolina, which I think is kind of interesting. But the Lions obviously have some bigger needs than quarterback out there.
We need to go all defense tonight. Quite simply, the ideal scenario is that we're able to trade back, even if it's just like 5 to 6 spots, grab another pick maybe late today or early tomorrow, and still just go defense. I'd love Sam Howell here, but we've spent too much on offense now. We need to balance the books up a bit and try and restore some parity. So hopefully, if it's true about all these receivers and quarterbacks going first, that should hopefully push the safeties down to us. It should hopefully push Travis Jones down to us. Should hopefully maybe push the likes of Leo Chenal and that down to us. So I'm hoping we might have our pick of the defensive guys come 46 if everyone else is going offense before us. So this draft could work very favorably if it goes as advertised.
Yeah, I think in terms of the consensus board, so we're picking effectively at 14, and you've got 3 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, a tight end, and 2 wide receivers. So that's potentially like 8 or 9 picks that are probably going to be on offense. And then if you look at like the top best 5 defensive players available, you've got Nakobe Dean, Andrew Booth, Ebiketie, Ajabo, Maffei, and that's way before you get to like Travis Jones and say some of the people like Petrie and Brisker. So I think we can pick up a really good defensive player here with this pick, if the board kind of goes the way that it certainly did in the first round. I don't know what you guys think about that logic.
He's got to be defensive now. I would go pretty much full defensive. Going up for Jameson Williams, for me, takes quarterback off the board. I think it would be really unwise to now, because now we're going all in on Jared Goff. You've moved up those places. You've got him a dynamic threat. So you're saying, here's the tools. You can't make any excuses. So let's not waste a pick on bringing in he's the guy that's going to supersede him. I say let's bulk out the defense now. It's got to be a linebacker or a safety for me, because there's a lot on the board. Like you say, Chad Boomer, got Troy Anderson, got Leo Chenal, got Channing Tindall, and then you've got you'll have Kirby Joseph, you'll have Brisker potentially, Petra, JT Woods. So at least we've got to get at least 2 of those guys, and if we do, I'll be very happy.
I definitely follow the logic. Linebacker, safety is definitely the 2 glaring needs that we have now. If there was one of those 2 positions, I know, Ant, you want the DT, I know you do, but if you had to pick one of linebacker and safety, which one would you go for and push the remaining need down maybe to 97?
Linebacker first.
Why?
I would have linebacker first because at safety, I think the value's better at 97 for safety than what it is for linebacker. You're going to have your Kirby Josephs there. You're going to have Marquise Bell on the board there. He's very good safety in his own right. Whereas when you get down to linebackers, Leo Chenal will be gone. Troy Anderson will be long gone. even the likes of Sanborn might be going by that point, and I just don't see the depth in class there as much. I think you're closer to a starting safety at 97 than you are a starting linebacker. And we can pick up a really good linebacker at 46. Hell, if Leo Shadal falls to us at 46 at this point, that'd be terrific for us to get him. We need guys who are good against the run as well. So linebacker for me takes precedence just because of the depth in both classes.
I think Leo Chanel would be a really weird pick, just because I think there's a lot of redundancy there with what we did last year, because Chanel needs to be Mike linebacker, A-gap blitzer as his primary function, which is kind of what we want to do with Derek Barnes. That's what we want his role to be. So, I mean, we guess we can move Derek Barnes about, and maybe we can play him a bit off the edge, but we had earmarked him as a sort of green dot guy this year, next year. But maybe he'll never get there. I don't know.
I think Chanel at 97, but not at 46.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Steve, even though I'm high on Chanel. 46 seems high.
Chad Moomer then?
Moomer I can
More
see.
Mike Backer.
So, yeah, everyone's talking about Dean falling. And I do wonder how far Dean is going to fall, because apparently it concerns across the league to do with his size and injury concerns on top of that. That's not a good combination. I mean, we saw Ardarius Washington last year at safety be one of the few top 100 players ever to go undrafted. So, that was mainly size. I know safety's a bit more important in terms of size than linebacker is, but he is small. He's not that small, but he's small for a linebacker. And if he is carrying an injury, I mean, could he be in play at 97?
No. Those two things put me off him altogether.
Yeah. There's other guys there,
I don't like Channing Tindall because he's played such little football. He has been a complete non-factor at Georgia for most of the time. But at 97, I'll take Tindall before I take Dean. I don't like Harris.
Christian Harris, Brian Asamoah. Yeah. There's a lot of guys in there who you can have. So, someone else can take that risk there, I think.
Yeah.
Sterling Weatherford, like I say, he can play a linebacker. He can play a linebacker very comfortably at the next level, and he's bigger and stronger than all of them.
Yeah, I think you do need a bit of beef in there as well. So I just don't think schematically it's right for us. And if there is an injury issue there, then you've got to be very careful with that. So, but I think just what's going to be good is I think we're just going to have so many players to pick from that Holmes and Campbell can just go, right, let's get the best defender on the board here, and they will make our defense better instantly. So that's what we want. So even if it's not linebacker or safety, I think we're still guaranteed to get a really good player there on the defense, whichever position it's going to be. Because I mean, you think if the corners fall, if Booth is sat there, then you've got to seriously consider him as well, because the value is too much to pass up on. And I know that there will be a disturbance in the force somewhere, and Tom would magically appear out of thin air celebrating just because he would love the pick that much. So,
yeah, definitely. It's one of those. So cornerback's one of those things. I think Booth would be. He's an upgrade, but is he a massive upgrade on cornerback 2? Can he be cornerback 1? Because we've got loads of cornerback 2s. Or potential cornerback 2s. Can he be the one? That's what we really lack.
Yeah, I think he's got the intangibles to be. You've just got to wait for him to get over his injury, but it's not that bad. It's not on Williams' scale, but at the end of the day, he's a very good shutdown corner, and if you train him right, you're going to get a hell of a player out of him. This is a guy who had legitimate first-round talk. I think it's just the injury and the fact that there were so many other corners up there. Just the depth at the top, which is the reason he's pushed down. It's not because he's bad. It's just circumstance. There's a lot of players who are going to be available first up today that could realistically have gone yesterday, and it's not because they're bad. It's just because of how the draft board played out with all the receivers going so early. So there's going to be a lot of value to add, especially if people are jumping up for receivers now. And if you're picking receivers now, the guys you're picking, you're sort of reaching for them a tiny bit. So, let the value fall to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, it's time to bring
Could
in
have-
our... Sorry, Ryan.
So this might come back to bite me in a year. This may be replayed back to me in a court of law, but I'm all on Jeff Okudah. He just looks good. He looks different. I think the mentality's there. I'm not taking a corner because I think we're going to get the best of him this year. So you could hold me to that, and I'll pay the price for it in a year.
I hope you're right. Let's bring on our
We'll
first
send you-
guest of the evening. We've got Josh Edwards on from Seahawks UK. Thank you very much for your time, man. At short notice coming on. Really appreciate it.
That's cool, boys. Thank you very much for having me. It's been I wasn't really expecting this, but yeah, it's it's a nice way to spend my evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Just appreciate you coming on, talking ball, talking Seahawks. You had an interesting night last night. There was a lot of speculation that you would perhaps be going a different direction to the way that you went, but at 9 you ended up taking Charles Cross, the tackle from Mississippi State. How are you feeling on that?
I'm genuinely feeling all right about it. Like I there was so much talk about Sauce Gardner and possibly Derek Stingley, and at times there was some edge talk about Kayvon Thibodeau like dropping down the list. But I honestly, taking a tackle it's something that we've done quite a lot, and I think it's something that we've lacked massively. I mean, Dwayne Brown's been fantastic for us, but he's 36, 37 now. He's not going to come back and be the player he was. He'd be a great tutor for someone, but for the money he's going to want, it's not worth it. So taking someone like Charles Cross, he's young, he's dynamic, he's aggressive as well. You know, it's fantastic. He's not played a lot in a running or rushing offense, but we can teach him that.
You've got a few picks early on tonight.
Yeah.
You've got another 7 picks in the entire draft at the moment. Of course, with all the trades that are happening right now, there could be a lot more or a lot less. So who knows? But early on tonight, you're picking at 40 and 41, 2 back-to-back picks. Looking at your needs, what are you expecting to happen early on tonight?
I'm honestly hoping, and most Seahawks fans will probably hate me for this, but I'm hoping we don't take a quarterback, because I prefer to build a team other than that. We've got serviceable quarterbacks. And Drew, look at when Russ first came in, we won a Super Bowl with him being, a second-year starter. You know, the way Pete wants to play, he wants to play ball control football. He wants to control the clock. He wants to run the ball. He wants to have good defense. I honestly hope that the next 2 picks are going to be defensive players of a decent caliber. If we take someone like Malik Willis or, Matt Corral, I think it's just a punt. It's just one of those, like, it's playing lip service to people. Like, everyone said we need to take one of these, so we should take one. I mean, there's players still out there. I had a list before. So look, I mean, when you look like defense, I mean, you've still got like Nick Benito from an edge point of view. David Ajabo, obviously, I know he's had that massive injury, and it's an absolute kicker for him. But you look at his production in college and what he can offer at a professional level, I think that'd be fantastic. I think we'd be remiss in taking another tackle. I don't really think we need a guard. I think it's all going to boil down to defense right now. I think it's going to be, you're probably going to be looking at people like your Benitos, your Ajabos. I think cornerback wise, if they're still there, Booth, Gordon. I'd quite like to see Kobe Dean, Tyndall, or Troy Anderson. Is just a freak of nature. I'd love to see one of them line up in the middle as well, because when you've got Jordan Brooks, who is going to be the leader of our defense now, with Jamal Adams, with speculation if he's going to be there, if you chat to Pez, then yeah, well, there's a few things that are flying around sort of Seahawks Twitter that there's speculation Adams might get traded, but personally I think he would have been traded before the draft, and then obviously that DK Metcalf talk, but that's not going to happen, I don't think.
I mean, how far do you think you will blow it up? Because your off season was tumultuous, shall we say? So franchise quarterback Russell Wilson gets traded. You get somewhat of a haul. You end up letting Bobby Wagner go in a surprising way. I mean, I think he came out and said that he found that by text or by media rather than being told directly, which doesn't sound to me like how I regard the Seahawks in my head. I always thought that they were kind of like a well-run stand-up organisation. I don't know whether this is just press rubbish coming out or words being twisted. It sounds very much like it could be absolutely rubbish, but, DJ Reed has walked, Gerald Everett's gone.
Well,
it looks like a rebuilding team. So are players going to be moved, do you think?
Oh no, we're retooling. We're not rebuilding.
We know how you feel on
that. You guys, however, I just very quickly, just on a tangent, I think that first pick for you guys, Hutchinson, keeping him in Michigan is a fantastic move. You were so I predicted in some of our draft boards, I said I think Trayvon Walker, based on all the chat that we had and that we've heard, I think the Jags were really high on him as an edge, even though he's got limited sacks, but still they can develop that. But you guys getting Hutchinson is a fantastic move. I think from our point of view, I'm very much in the camp of I'm kind of glad that Russ has gone, because I genuinely couldn't deal with the utter cheese anymore. His heart wasn't in it. He didn't want to be a Seahawk. After all that talk last year, everyone was like, "Oh no, it's his agent." His agent reports directly to him. I think he'd seen where the limitations of his game had gone with what we wanted to do. The fact that when you look at the players we've got, I mean, Metcalf over the middle is an absolute monster because he will just rack things up. You've got tight ends. Like when we had Everett, he only actually got the ball. I mean, we had him on basically a 1-year loan deal. When he got the ball, it was hardly over the middle. You look at people like Will Dissly, our other tight end, who we've just paid a ridiculous amount of money to, which is another bond contention. But we've got other players like Colby Parkinson, who everyone's raving about. He's 6'8". He's a massive unit, but they're not going to get the ball over the middle. So I think moving on from Russ and actually getting more of a stereotypical quarterback who's over 6 foot, who'll be able to see over that line and maybe make more things happen might work. Just a system quarterback is all we need. By way of other movements, I don't think it's going to happen. I think we'll keep the squad we've got, and we're just going to try and expand on it and look at those areas of weakness. That's what I hope, although 40 and 41 may change that. So,
Just talking of system quarterbacks, the Seahawks are one of the teams that have been mentioned in terms of a trade to get Baker Mayfield. And I'm genuinely not trolling now, but just wondered what your take was on that.
I mean, you guys probably haven't listened to the podcast much, but I'm genuinely all for it. I think Baker coming out as
I thought you said you wanted a quarterback taller than 6 foot. That seems at odds with what you just said.
Yeah.
5'11" and a half.
But mate, he's nearly 6 foot. There you go. I've got friends that are definitely under 6 foot, but still class themselves as 6 foot or 6'1". With Baker, he's one of those anomalies as well, where his first overall pick, he's taken the Browns, obviously with some help with other players, but he's taken them from utter obscurity and being the worst franchise in the NFL to actually being relevant. He's been the quarterback through that. And I honestly think if he came to Seattle, he'd do a job. I'm not a fan of his wage. I think if he gets released, it's something we consider. And I think that's why we've not signed him, because he's due $15 million this year. I won't pay $15 million for him, but something less, I'd consider it. It's a bit of a toss up. I mean, we've got 3 QBs on the roster at the moment for training camp, with Gino, with Drew Lock, who again shows promise. I think he just needs to calm himself down and learn to play a system, be a bit more patient. And then you've got Jacob Eason, who we keep around because he's there to throw balls when no one else is there, really. I think having someone like Baker, I think, would push everyone. I think he's a better option than some of these unproven QBs.
Had a question in the chat about the wide receiver you took last year, Dwayne Eskridge. Seems to be a little way down your depth chart, but
Yeah.
he a bit of an older receiver, but his production was fantastic. But kind of does seem to be in that sort of mold of receiver that maybe Russ would have made the most of him, much as Russ made the most of Tyler Lockett. And I actually do wonder whether both of those guys are perhaps going to suffer a little bit with Russ moving on, kind of those elite throws outside the numbers. I mean, Lockett, that connection was unbelievable. But what do you think is going to happen with those two guys next year?
Again, I think it depends on how we play. Like, obviously, we want to do the run first offense, and that run first offense could work fantastically for us because it will open up the space at the back, and then you've got those deep threats like you've got your Lockett's, you've got Metcalf, Eskridge, unproven commodity throughout college. You know, he was people didn't rave about him, but he was known as a proven quantity where he'd score and he'd make those yards for you. But he came to us, and then I think he had concussion, which kept him out for a longer than I would have thought. But he was out for a long time, and he never really got his feet under him. Freddie Swain came out, put his cloak of invisibility on himself, and decided to drift past defenders because people thought it's Freddie Swain, and he scored some fantastic touchdowns. But I hopefully this year, I think with Shane Waldron's offense, we might be able to unlock some potential. Like I said, it's going to rely on having those guys come in on some slant move or some slant runs over the middle, getting behind or in front of defenders, being able to make some yards after catch as well. The yak hopefully will be pretty prevalent in our offense this year.
Questions, boys?
I'm just following up from talking about Baker Mayfield. I think that for like the Seahawks and like maybe Panthers, and there's a few quarterbacks, teams that don't have like a designated franchise quarterback. I think Baker Mayfield's like a really underrated option, and I know there seems to be a lot of hate on him, but I mean, this is a guy that's been playing injured for the last year, and I mean, he's given absolutely everything to the Browns franchise in terms of like playing through the pain and maybe like a bit too brave at times, and maybe he should have had a couple of games off and got healthy. But in terms of like character, you can't fault him. And yeah, he does throw the odd like crazy pick, and he does seem to get rattled. But I think he's a lot more serviceable than probably another 8 or 9 so-called starting quarterbacks in the current NFL. So yeah, I think he'd be a good fit in Seattle.
Agreed. So this is a conversation about back and forth with James and Pez on the podcast, and even in our group chat. And I don't think everyone's on board with it, but I can honestly see it working, because like the dude's again, he's taken my dad's a Browns fan. He loves an underdog, and I have ripped the. Sorry, I don't know if you can swear on this, but I've ripped the piss out of him. Oh, thank Christ! I have ripped the piss out of him for years since he chose the Browns. And I was like, "You guys are crap. You've done absolutely nothing. You've got no decent players." And they started accumulating players. When they got Baker, I went, "Oh, okay." Like my dad's got a Manziel, whatever his name is, jersey. They got cheap on eBay. Yeah, there you go, Johnny Football. I think it was cheap on eBay. But he's got one of those jerseys. And as soon as they signed Baker Mayfield, I went, actually, it could work. And you look at his work ethic, the fact that he played through injury all last season. That shows the heart of the guy, that he just wants to drag people along with him. He's like, we will win regardless. I mean, my best friend's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so when they beat the Steelers, I was all over that and I absolutely loved it. But that shows exactly what he does to a franchise. He's polarizing. Like, some people hate him, whereas I don't mind him. I love a quarterback that will actually do what they say. They wear the heart on their sleeve. They play for that franchise. Like, you look at what he did. The was it podcast he did where he said, "Look, I gave everything to Cleveland. That was my home. He's from Ohio. He wants to win, and that's all I want from a quarterback. I'm happy with what we've got at the moment, but if we move on and get Baker as well, I'm not going to argue. Obviously, one of our QBs is going to go, and it's going to be Jacob Eason, and it's going to be a matter of having 3 starting QBs as our options, which isn't a bad place to be. They're not, world beaters, but I'll take it.
If someone like Desmond Ridder was around for your second pick today, is that something that you think they should be thinking about, or
no? And I'm firmly in the camp of don't bother with the QB this year, because there's better options. I think we need another cornerback. We've got Sidney Jones, who obviously played last year after coming on a free agent deal from Jacksonville, I think was him. He's an ex-Washington Husky. I think it's a Husky or a Coug, one of the two. I think it's a Husky. He came over. He did all right. He actually improved over the season. I think Trey Brown, now he's fit, he's going to really prove what he's made of. And he's a shorter stature cornerback, but he hits hard and people aren't going to want to run at him. And that's what I want to see. I want to see, and what the coaching staff has said, we want to be more aggressive in defense. And if we've got people like Trey Brown, we get another cornerback who will hit and will man mark people and make sure that they don't want to run at them. Fantastic. We get an edge rusher or a linebacker who can rush that line. I'm happy. I'm more than happy. I think defensive tackle, we are set. Now we're going to a 3-4 formation now. I'd love a middle linebacker. I just think anyone who can make us relevant again in the pass rush game would be fantastic.
My hot take is, I think Desmond Ridder's far better than Drew Lock. Lock is hot trash. He will throw you 10 to 15 interceptions every year. His judgment making is dreadful. So I think Ridder would actually be a very good option. But my question to you is,
I love Geno Smith, though, what he did last year.
See,
when
Geno Smith
Russell
isn't
Wilson went out, Seattle got better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lock should never see the field. I would play Geno Smith. I'd give Jacob Eason a go before Drew Lock.
I'd be happy with Geno because Geno knows the system. I think if we play, if we have 2 fit running backs, that's actually one caveat I'd put on our selections. If we could pick a Breece Hall, or my personal favourite is Dameon Pierce, I'd be happy with that, because we would then have a proper 1-2 punch at running back, and we could just run the ball all day, and then we put the pressure off people like your Smiths, because Smith can throw, as we saw against Jacksonville. That pass that he threw to DK Metcalf in the corner was beautiful. Smith could run that offense just by throwing shorter balls and then picking one off at the end, but sort of in the end zone. Happy with that. Drew Lock has got a hose of an arm, as John Snyder says. I don't want to really say Drew Lock's got a hose, but we'll call it a cannon, supposedly. We've got options. Personally, I'm with you on Drew Lock. I've not got a lot of faith on him. I think he's had his chance, and for someone like Teddy Bridgewater to be able to walk in and go, "Nah, mate, this is my team now," says a lot. But I hold out hope. I mean, like I said, if someone can play the system, I'm happy. Let's just run the ball. Run it, in the words of Marshawn Lynch, run it through a motherfucker's face enough times, and then we just go over the top. I'm happy with that. If we've got DK Metcalf having 10 touches a game, but out of those 10 touches, 5 to 7 of them are him making 10 to 20 yards and a couple of touchdowns, I'm cool with that.
You'll be amazed, I think, to know that. So we've got I think you may be our 10th guest or so this cycle, this draft weekend. And you're maybe the 5th or 6th guy to pick out Dameon Pierce as a draft crush. But on the consensus board that I've picked out, which is made up of some of the bigger ones, so I made it from, PFF, Pro Football Network, the Draft Network, the big ones, Athletic, Dane Brugler, what have you. Dameon Pierce is running back 15. He should not be, in my mind, some guy that everyone has kind of got this crush on. I really thought it was going to be Pierre Strong because of that 40 time and the fact that he can pass protect on third down. I thought that's just a match made in heaven for a lot of people. But Pierce is the guy that everyone seems to love.
It's about styles, and we've already got running backs in our system that can pass pro. We've got like Travis Homer, that's his whole deal. They can pass pro, and he can catch a ball because God knows he can't run a ball because he just runs into defenders or offensive line. You know, if we can have someone like Dameon Pierce, who was massively underutilized at Florida, I think he'd be fantastic for us. The guy is aggressive. He has got a fantastic turn of pace. He can turn himself on a dime, or he can just ball through people. That, for me, is, as a later pick, brilliant. I think that would be a fantastic pickup at our 72 pick. If he's still there, I'd be happy with that all day. If we get Breece Hall, even better. The guy will run and run and run, because we've been in that unfortunate position where we've had Chris Carson, who is on his day top 5 running backs in the NFL, but is injured so much that you don't see it. You know, he has some fantastic plays, and then all of a sudden he's out for 4 games. Penny came in end of last season and showed why we picked him in the first round. But
he looked great,
genuinely. But he's been
dreadful pick.
He's been injured so much.
Yeah,
like you've got nothing else to base it off. If you're going to base it on those last few games, you go, that guy is going to be a superstar. But I've said this on our pod, like, if he can stay fit, I can understand it. But I have no faith in him staying fit. He said he had a whole new mindset, fitness regime, everything, when Adrian Peterson was there just to teach him. But now AP is gone doing whatever, or imprisoned wherever. I'm not sure. You know, I'm not sure how he's going to go. I think he's a massive confidence player. I think a lot of his is like, oh, I've got a niggle in my hamstring. I've got a niggle in my calf. Oh, I'm not sure if I can play. Like, I'm an ex-rugby player. For me, it's always been, I've got a niggle in my hamstring. I'll stretch it off. Someone put some tape on it. I'll carry on. But his thing seems to be, I don't feel right. It's a bit tight. Can't play. If he's got over that hurdle, then he could be a top 10 running back in the NFL. But
basically, what you're saying is he's the Jack Wilshere of the NFL.
Essentially, yeah.
We're coming to the end of...
When Penny retires, he's going to have more hospital wings named after him than Jimmy Savile.
Boys, we're coming to the end of our time. If someone has one more quick question they want to get in, that's burning.
Is Pete Carroll nearly done? Because it looks like his time there is ticking. Because of his age as well. He can't have long left.
I think Pete Carroll's got 2-3 years tops. I think Jody Allen's going to give him this draft, see how this year goes. If we see improvement, she'll give him next year or the year after.
Do you axe him this year?
After that? No. I think this year is safe. I think next year, depending on what the draft is, he's going to have that 23-24 season, and then that's it. Canned.
Right, we are coming to the end of our time, Josh, but why don't you just quickly plug your pod, let us know where you can find you, because you said we perhaps haven't listened to as much of it as we should, so tell us where it is.
So we are the We Talk Seahawks podcast. We are available on anywhere you stream your podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify, that obviously the main two, but anywhere else, just search We Talk Seahawks. You'll find me. You'll find James, who is our leader. You'll find Pez as well. So you've got 3 Northerners talking about the Seattle Seahawks. And basically, if you have children in the room, I'd advise you remove them, because Pez is a big fan of dropping an F-bomb every now and again. And we're Lions fans. F-bombs are a staple.
I don't.
That's your daily, isn't it?
You have to survive somehow. Thank you so much for coming on at short notice and giving us a fantastic insight into the team and early day 2, because you're going to be a big factor at the start of this draft. So hope you enjoy your night. Don't take 11 words. Yeah. Hope you have a good night, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Thank you very much for having me. It's been an absolute
Cheers,
pleasure.
Josh.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Josh.
See you guys soon.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
All right. Continuing our fantastic run of really high quality guests. And next up, in 5 minutes' time, we've got Sean Black from NFL Scotland. He'll be repping the LA Chargers. So, really good stuff. The Tampa Bay Bucks are on the clock, but Ant was fairly confident beforehand that they were going to be trading out here, I think. Is that
It's
what
either it's either a trade out or a defensive tackle. I think it's one of those two. But
that is not an active draft room.
That was like a tongue twister. We talk Seahawks on Seashore. I like it. That's a good name.
Oh no!
I'm glad that you really like moderated your opinions on Drew Lock. Right into.
He's a bum. Sorry.
So, just to let you guys know, I have 5 minutes left on the Tampa clock. I don't know where you guys are.
5:50.
4:58.
I'm about a minute behind, so I'm cool. I'm going to watch it.
I'm about where you are, Steve.
Right, I think I'm 4 seconds ahead of the two of you guys, so I'm going to
If
pause myself.
anyone's watching, this lump here is Hank. If anyone's in the chat, that's Hank, that podgy bit.
No.
You hear a low-pitched noise, that's when he started to snore last night.
Snoring off,
3 o'clock.
farting.
Is he started to accept his
That's
jersey yet? Has he started to accept his jersey yet, or is he still a bit funny when he wears it?
No, you put him on him, he sits and sulks for about 10 minutes. And it's cool. But when you try to take off him and grab his paw, he try to bite me. Because he don't like the sleeves.
Oh, man. Oh, it's so cool to see everyone excited to come on the pod and give us such good stuff. This is my favourite weekend of the year by far. It's better than the Super Bowl for me, it really is. And not just because it's Lions weekend, but like, we don't do this for the Super Bowl.
No. Ah, dear, that's fun. Let's see what everybody does.
Are you nervous for this first one?
No. You know what? I just enjoy the draft. Anyhow, I'm going to spice this up. Actually, I put my second round mock draft in the Discord chat earlier. For every pick I get right, I'll take a shot, which means I'll not have any shots. But I've got it here just in case.
What of?
Oh man!
I've got some rum with me. Some good stuff.
We weren't doing this last night, otherwise you'd have drank a quarter of a can.
Have you got the stuff I gave you?
I believe I was second to you. I think it was you, then me. So, we should be taking shots at the two. We shouldn't be taking shots at each other. Taking shots at these who didn't get any right.
How did that glorious leader get on?
I don't know. I got a clue.
I got 5, so I think I came fourth.
The glorious leader got on like
okay.
his Trey Flowers highlights did. They just never happened.
I would just say they were understated.
Oh yeah, you got a pick right, didn't you? Trey Flowers didn't do outright, so yeah, actually you're right.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go.
Yeah, you damn right.
I think I got more than one.
The pick's in.
Right. When Travis gets picked, if it's not us, I will go off camera a minute and cry. So you're just gonna have to deal with that.
I don't know what the Bucks need.
Defensive tackle. That's
Sue.
Yeah, Sue's not come back yet, and like I said, even if he does, that team's very old. They need to start replacing some of these guys long term. I mean, if you bring Perry and Winfrey or Travis Jones,
I think Perry and Winfrey fit well.
Yeah, but give him a year working with Sue, and then you can sort of replace him when he goes, rather than just have a big gaping hole.
I mean, I kind of
they've already got
a second pick.
Who's a beast.
I could see them going after Trey McBride with the second pick if he's still there, because of Gronk. Even if Gronk doesn't go back, but I can see them long-term replacing some of these older guys.
Why does Mel Kiper has Drake Jackson as a linebacker?
Did they say he'd been working as an outside linebacker?
Yeah,
or
that's it.
I think he'd been work. I think It gets very weird. People class outside linebackers and edges as different things now, and it's kind of like it's very grey for some
Outside
of them.
linebackers, 3-4 outside linebackers and 4-3 defensive ends are much closer than 3-4 outside linebackers and Mike linebackers. But if you're an OLB, you're an LB, and that's how some people do it. I know Mel Kiper does do that. So it really skews everything. Just don't use ESPN. Like, that's all I can say.
Drake Jackson will never be stood up. He will always have his hand in the dirt, surely. I say,
God,
he's not
yeah.
back.
Well, they've not traded out of it anyway.
I'm looking forward, by the way, to seeing Barry Sanders and Keegan-Michael Key tonight.
Yeah.
Announce our pick. That's going to be cool.
I've got the pick.
I thought you were behind us.
I swapped. I'm on YouTube, so I'm now suddenly ahead. I've got the pick. Yeah.
Wait, YouTube streams the draft?
Nice choice. Okay.
Got potential.
Evening, gentlemen.
Just to welcome in our next guest, Sean Black from NFL Scotland, repping the LA Chargers, as you can see. Thank you very much for your time, Sean.
Thank you for having me. Just seen the pick come as well for the Buccaneers.
Sean, it looks like you're inside a sauna. Or some sort of wooden
no
cabin.
such luck. No such luck. Just a nice little a bedroom with a sleeping dog behind me as well. So it's nothing exotic. So
how has the draft gone for you so far? You were picking at 17 and you don't have a pick in the second round. You ended up taking the Zion Johnson, the guard from Boston College, probably
we've got a big trade.
number 1 interior offensive lineman. And it seemed to be a position of need for you. Were you happy with the pick?
I think so. We definitely needed offensive line help. Maybe would have rathered a tackle to fill the gap at right tackle rather than Storm Norton, who obviously had a bit of a rough time down the end of the season. But our offensive lineman was the main need. So I think overall pretty happy with that first pick. And without a second round pick, I think I'll take Khalil Mack, especially out of the NFC North. I think
sorry, Ryan.
We'll take that pick. So
I'm sorry, Ryan.
Yeah, so the Green Bay Packers have traded up to 34 with the Minnesota Vikings. So the Vikings have traded with the Lions and the Packers in this draft, proving that they
Packers
are
pick is in.
truly the despicable people in the NFC North. The Packers pick is in. It is expected to be George Pickens, I think, but
No, it's not. It's a receiver, but it's not Pickens.
Oh,
That's why
it's
I'm
Christian.
saying. That's why I'm saying sorry, Ryan.
oh no.
I know. It's going to be a Watson, isn't it?
Oh bollocks! Right.
The Packers have
We'll
the Packers
carry
have
on
obviously
with
got no
you instead.
the Packers have obviously got no like choice, but they've got to trade up for a receiver because there's hardly anyone of that kind of caliber left now. So it's quite funny that they've had to burn draft capital on doing something that they should have done. With their second pick.
They've given up both seconds, 53 and 59. They've given up.
Yeah,
So that's
big
them
give up.
done in the second. But they've screwed the Bears in the process as well, which is funny.
Everyone loves screwing the Bears.
And now the Vikings have done 2 in-division trades. That's rare.
It's very rare.
I'd say that's
We're
quite
all
surprising, isn't it?
We're all working together to fuck the Bears.
So you've got 9 more picks in this draft, starting at 79, but you've got a nice cluster of picks in the 6th and 7th round as sort of fodder picks between 215 and 261. Does that kind of make you guys ripe candidates to trade up, try and package those ones to get a more meaningful selection?
I think it would be nice to think you could do that. But I don't know. I don't think we particularly want to have 4 picks in the 250s. So does anybody else want to have them? And to be honest, I think you could probably do with filling out some of the roster, particularly with special teams. Special teams is always a Chargers bugbear. So I think I would it would be nice to see some of them traded, but to be honest, I can't see. It's not a Tom Telesco thing to trade too much, so I can't see. There might be a bit of shuffling deck, but I can't see much at all. So I think we'll probably sit a third and fourth pick, maybe shuffle up in the fifth, but I can't see much coming. So
looking back at last season, you guys went 9-8. And it was one of those seasons that was a bit weird because it felt like you guys were just one of the best teams in the league all the way through, and yet somehow just conspired to lose games. And, you've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. In his first 2 years, he's been an absolute revelation. The team around him seems to be fantastic. Everyone says about Denver, oh, it's a great team, but they're only a quarterback away. Well, the Chargers just look like a great team, and they're not a quarterback away. So what happened?
I don't know. It seemed to kind of be, we beat the Chiefs, we beat the Bengals pretty comprehensively. Started 4-1, and then it just completely melted. We lost to a pretty average Vikings team. Of course, the big loss was the one to Houston of all teams in Week 16. That was the one that kind of killed the season. But I think it was a kind of combination of the complete lack of depth on the defense, particularly at cornerback, when Michael Davis didn't play very well, and when we didn't have Asante Samuel, who was a big selection last year in the second round, we just really, really struggled to hold anything back. And I think the lack of a really solid run game hurt us. I know we've got Justin Herbert, shouldn't, you don't want to be too reliant on a run game, but, we just couldn't take the pressure off him at times. And I think that kind of really hurt us. We were too reliant on Austin Eckler. So I think that could be something that we could look at changing for this year. And I think that's where the Zion Johnson pick comes in well. He's a big run mauler. So hopefully that kind of helps that as well. But to finish 9-8, it's obviously better than the season before, but given some of the highs, it was really disappointing, especially losing to the Raiders to let the Raiders in. That was unfortunately, that's a night I'll never forget for bad reasons. So,
just to fill you guys in, the Titans have traded up to 35, and they've taken Roger McCreary.
The Jets are on the clock because the Giants have also traded 36 to the Jets. Apparently, it's going to be another trade fest.
It's not happening. This has been the most insane 36 picks I can remember in a draft cycle. Like, this is fucking mad.
So I've got the Jets needing a safety, so I wonder if they've come up for one of the safeties. But I mean, they've only come up 2 spots, so
it's like I think it was like 10 or 11 picks yesterday without a trade, and then
there were 11 trades.
60-70% of them were trades. Yeah,
there were 11 trades, and there were 9 pick swaps before the draft. So I think there were 20 of the 32 picks got traded. It's crazy, but why have they come up 2 spots?
Andrew Booth, they need a corner.
I think it's a safe. No, what have I got them? I've got them taking safety and then taking. Where else are they?
Sean, your big news then. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's just I've had to put it off. But it seems just non-stop, as you guys are saying. Like, people are jumping up, jumping down. I had a quick chat with Steve earlier. We were talking about obviously the Lions jumping all the way up to get Jameson Williams. I would have liked him. So I was glad to see him go as far away as possible from the AFC West. So it seems to be non-stop. And to be honest, I was quite surprised that the Chargers never traded down. I could have seen that happening. But it just never transpired. So
Ant's mock draft had you trading up for one of the premier tackles. So he went the other way on that.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't, because you don't have a right tackle after Balaga left, and in that division with all those pass rush options, I kind of figured you'd want a pair of good tackles there, because you could get ruined pretty easy by some of these teams.
Yeah, because the chat was that they might take a guard, and that would kick Matt Filer, who played last year at left guard. He played some right tackle at Pittsburgh. So the talk was that they would pick him out. But based on the press conference that Tom Telesco and Brandon Staley had last night, sounds like they're planning to keep Filer at left guard. They don't want to change one side of the line. So there is still a gaping hole at right tackle. And at the moment, it'll be Storm Norton or Trey Pipkins, who he's been a bit of a bust as well. So unless there's a magic solution somewhere, it's a big hole. And I don't fancy Chris Jones or Max Crosby running down that right tackle again.
No, but there's some tackles who could do a job for you that you could pick up at, what was their next pick? 79. So I reckon that you could, I think Falele could drop to there. I think that Luke Goodecki is definitely going to be available there.
Kellen Dyche, my Arizona State tackle.
Yeah.
He's supposed to go in 3 and 3 or 4.
One of the problems for the Chargers is Pipkins is a really bad name for like a tough offensive lineman. You just can't trust a Pipkins, can you?
No, especially a Trey Pipkins. It doesn't fill you with confidence. But then I thought Storm Norton sounded like a good rough name, and that kind of has turned out the wrong way as well. So
Pipkins sounds
we'll
like
see.
a cringy chimneys in a Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh God.
In terms of last year's pick, Sean, in terms of Rashawn Slater, are you pretty pleased with the season he's had?
I don't think we could have asked for anything more out of a rookie left tackle to be second team All Pro. I think that you couldn't have hit it any better. Going into last year, I thought we needed to go offensive line. I didn't think Slater would still be there. I thought it was probably more likely we would get Christian Darrisaw, but Slater came in, played really well. As I said, we obviously got Matt Filer and Corey Linsley from the Packers for all of them to come in to that line and completely transform it. In all the years I've been a Chargers fan, we've never had an offensive line like the one we're building now. So I will certainly take it. And we also got a lot of other contributors out of last year's draft. I mentioned Santi Samuel already, but even Josh Palmer, wide receiver, he kind of stepped up a little bit down the road. Couple of other guys, special teams, got some snaps down the road. So I think kind of there's contributions from just about everyone that came out of the draft last year. But Rashawn Slater I think it was a home run pick for the second year in a row after Justin Herbert in 2020.
Yeah, I'm confused by this pick.
Whoa.
Well, you'll have to fill me in because I'm not watching at the moment. My Wi-Fi's not
running back.
So.
They took Michael Carter last year and they've gone running back again. The first back is off the board.
Wow.
The Jets took Breece Hall.
Yeah. I like it, but that's giving up. That basically says Michael Carter in it already.
That
seems like a rule.
That's mad. Absolutely mad. Anyway, let's talk more about the Chargers while we have you here. If you were to construct a sort of semi-realistic perfect draft from here on out, are there a few guys that you're kind of banging the table for in the 3rd, 4th round picks?
I'm not necessarily sure. I think the offensive line was the big hole. I think after that it becomes what positions do we need to add a little bit of depth at. I don't personally have any preference now. My preference was where we went in the 1st round. I think we'll be looking a cornerback. Probably that would be the 3rd round pick. Whether I don't know, I'm going to guess Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati will be gone by then.
True.
But a cornerback, probably need interior defensive line help. A tackle, you guys are already naming some of the tackles we would take. And there'll be a wide receiver as well. I imagine they'll try and pick up later in the later 4th or 5th, or with one of our many 7th round picks that never come to fruition, would maybe a wide receiver there.
In terms of like what's happened in the rest of the AFC West over the off season, I mean, it's just like a massive arms race has kicked off. Is you think that will prompt the Chargers front office to kind of like rethink their draft strategy just because of what's been going on at the Raiders and Denver?
I don't think so. I think they'll the idea. I mean, it's very annoying that I was going into this season thinking this was going to be the Chargers' time, and then everyone else is built up. It's like we can't have nice things. So I think it probably affects a little bit of what happens, but I think they would have had the plan in place anyway, and they've just got to roll with the punches and hope that they can contain some of these offenses, because it's just mental where you've got to play 6 times a year. You know, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrew really hurt us in the 2 games that we played against the Raiders. You know, and the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Even without Tyreek Hill, it's going to be tough. We seem to get ripped apart by Travis Kelce every single time we play the Chiefs.
As a Lions fan, I can safely say I'm glad to see the back of Devontae Adams.
Well, he's my problem now. So, but you know, we saw what the Chargers did in free agency when they went and obviously got J.C. Jackson. You know, and with Asante Samuel, you know that might be enough, but you know, we're very thin ground if one of those 2 gets hurt, or you know, if they don't live up to expectations, I think we'll be in a spot of bother, I think, unfortunately.
So the Falcons have traded up with the Giants. So the Giants have traded back twice already on day 2. So they traded 35.
Falcons, I think,
35 to the Jets. So they received 38 and 146, and then that 38 pick has gone to the Falcons for 43 and 114. So the eventual end of that is that the Giants had 35 and traded it that way and got 43, 114, and 146. Which
I think this could be our first QB.
The
terrific
Texans
value.
have upset me. The
Malik
Texans,
Willis,
I hate
please
the
be
Texans
Malik
pick.
Willis.
I think
money
this
on
is
it.
our first QB.
Come on, Malik, let's do it. Please.
Is anyone else sad Petra's gone? I'm sad Petra's gone.
I'm not.
Did
It pushes
Petra go to
Brisker.
the...
Petra went to
Texans.
Houston, yeah.
It pushes Brisker closer to us.
It does. We're only 8 picks away from the Lions now. 9 picks away.
I'd be considering it.
I'm not sure if he's going to make it. I hope he does, but
I think there's going to be there's possibly a run of QBs, because the Seahawks have a couple of picks coming up now as well. That could be quarterback
Yeah.
as well.
That's why Atlanta have come up for sure.
Yeah.
There's
want
one
their QB
thing
of
I wanted
choice.
to bring up with you, Sean, because we're coming to the end of our time, but you made one really big
Yeah, no
free
problem.
agency signing, which was J.C. Jackson from the Patriots. You gave him a heck of a lot of money for a cornerback, but obviously he was probably one of the best last season. Are you happy with that free agency signing? Do you think it was value? And obviously in the division you're in, as you were saying, defense is going to be key for you guys.
Yeah, I think we definitely had to address it. So sometimes you have to go and maybe overpay, but it seemed to be it was a lot of money. We had, I think, going into the offseason, the Chargers had the fourth or fifth most cap room. So, and that's where having the rookie quarterback really helps. So I think you got to go for the all-in move. So I was quite happy with it. I have a good friend that's a Patriots fan. He was very disappointed to lose him, so that kind of made me feel a bit better about it. So I think we had to make that move, because otherwise we would have been, to try and roll with the group we had last year. I think we would have been struggling at 9-8 again probably. So we had to make the move, and I think it was a good one. Hopefully, be worth every penny. Some of our free agent moves in the past haven't been great. We have a bit of a history of swinging and missing on big free agents, but I'm going to hope that this is going to be different. 2022 is going to be different for the Chargers. So.
Okay, so give us a projection of what that season looks like for the Chargers. Where do you think you're at if the chips are down?
I'm going to say about 10-7. But I kind of get a feeling that the whole AFC West will be in and around there, because not only do we play each other, we also play the NFC West. So that's going to be it's going to be a lot of beating each other up. But I think 10-7, I think can get into the playoffs. And what if we get into the playoffs with Justin Herbert? If the Bengals can do it, why can the better quarterback of that class not do it? So I'm going to say we can get to the playoffs.
What?
I hope that wasn't at me and my Chargers.
No. I'm
so-
sure it's the Falcon selection, I'm sure. Does anyone have a final question for Sean before we let him go?
Do you want to just call the pick, Matt? Now?
What?
So,
Arnold Ebiketie, edge.
Wow.
probably have to trade it up for him.
Yeah.
Surely he would have fallen to them as
Yeah.
well. So
That
I'm
these
trying to
teams
find him on my board. Where the hell is he? There he is, 37.
In fact,
Goes
I
at
had him.
38.
I had him at 44 on my mock draft, so he ain't far off. But I mean, Drake Jackson's still on the board.
Boy Maffei, Ajabo.
Boy Maffei.
Passed all the quarterbacks. And Boy
Anyway.
Maffei.
Boys, last question for Sean if
Matt.
someone wants it.
Where do you think? Obviously, Sean, you're head of content for NFL Scotland. Where do you think David Ajabo will end up? Maybe fall into because obviously, terrible Achilles injury, and who do you think will take a gamble on him?
yeah, I kind of see it being a team that's maybe sitting in the middle of the second round that doesn't need him straight off the bat and could probably use him as more of a situational pass rusher down the stretch. So you're talking maybe one of your playoff teams from last year. I saw there was at least one mock draft I saw today that had him going to the Bengals. Maybe the Chiefs, I think, have got 2 later picks today. Annoyingly, I like what the Chiefs have done already, so I can kind of see that they might be a team that pick him up. But I think it'll be a team like that. A Chiefs team. Chiefs or Bengals. Maybe a Steelers team. But I definitely will go middle of second round. I was surprised maybe didn't see him late yesterday. So yeah, I could see him go to like a playoff team that doesn't need him right away, but will benefit from his upside down the road.
All right, Sean, I think we're coming to the end of our time, but why don't you speak a little bit about NFL Scotland for us just before you head off?
Yeah, thanks. So obviously we have a very talented writer with us as well. Steve, you can give me that bribe later.
Who's that?
So NFL Scotland, there's a podcast. It's a number of kind of broadcasters from Scotland. Some of them been with Sky Sports. Gordon McGuinness from PFF, he's on the podcast as well. But there's also the website nflscotland.com. We do lots of articles through the season. We've got some fantasy football, some betting stuff, and it's really just a kind of forum for anyone in the good old country of Scotland that likes NFL to write. So if there's anyone out there that wants to join the team, Steve can vouch for the fact I'm not really a slave driver. But it's just an easy forum for people who just like to talk about the NFL and do a bit of writing on the side. That's why I kind of started doing it, and it's just one of those hobbies that I've got into, and very much like yourselves, just a bunch of guys and girls that like talking about American football. So it's a nice forum, and if anyone wants to join us, just get in touch. So
I've got to say as well that Sean is a great boss for me, because as head of content and main editor at NFL Scotland, I get away with throwing quite a lot of shade at particularly the Packers and the Bears, and Sean generally lets me get away with it. So much appreciated. I occasionally get a tut, but not very often.
No, a little bit of shade is quite good. It keeps the heat going between other people. And if I was a bit braver, I would throw a lot more at the Chiefs, and I throw enough at the Raiders, but I would throw a bit more at the Chiefs if I could get away with it. So
there you go. Right, fantastic. Thank you so much for donating your time tonight, and I hope your one pick goes well later on. But thank you again.
Yeah, Sean.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys,
Thanks,
and good luck to the Lions with the rest of your picks. You've got more coming up than we do, so good luck, and thanks for having me. I think it's a great idea, and really glad to be a part of it.
Fantastic. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Take
Cheers,
care.
Sean.
So,
Okay,
All right.
cheers, guys. Thanks very much. Cheers.
All right. Fantastic stuff. Keeps getting better and better, this. And in 5 minutes' time, we're going to be joined by one of our best guests from 12 months ago. I cannot for the life of me remember his name, though. But Indianapolis Colts UK is going to be on the show in 5 minutes' time. Anyone remember his name offhand? Because he was a young kid, wasn't he, who just absolutely knew everything there was to know about the Colts.
But he's incredibly knowledgeable and a really funny guy.
Really blew me away last time.
Annoyingly, they've still got their choice of receiver, and they've still got Raymond they can pick here.
Yeah. I don't think they'll go that way.
Oh, are you looking ahead?
Nope.
pick is in.
I don't think they'll go that way. I just don't think they will. I think that Chicago will go... Oh, what's the most Chicago thing to do? Boye Mafe?
Oh, the pick's in.
They've got to replace Khalil Mack. They've got to.
Well, it's not.
They need a line
I've
to
seen the
protect
pick.
Fields.
They've got in position that I didn't think they would have done.
They need a receiver. They need a tackle.
Kyler Gordon!
What the fuck?
They've replaced Kyle Fuller with Kyler Gordon.
Oh, dear Lord.
Well, they've replaced Ryan and Matt with Ryan and Matt in the front office. So it kind of figures they've replaced Kyle with Kyler. That's a very Bears thing to do.
He's got arms as long as me, which is short. Jameson Williams is going to cook him and put him on toast. He's going to eat him like a canapé. I can't wait.
Ryan is his name. There we go.
My pal Eric, who was in the chat yesterday from America, has just messaged me, is the Minnesota GM on LSD? And I think that pretty much says it all.
Yeah, see, they all keep saying, oh, he's an analytics guy and he loves his analytics and that, but that can work against him because these analytics are probably telling him these trades are good for him, but they're really not. They're just moving further back and the caliber of players going down. I mean, why would they let us and the Packers get our receiver of choice? Just willingly allow us to go up and get these guys.
Plus, they need a corner, and the corners are going. Who are they going to take? Like, are they hoping Andrew Booth's still going to be there? Because their corners are gash.
There's some names that have gone in the first 7 picks that I would never have thought. Like, I think there's no one really that's gone that like I'd have wanted.
I think all
That's
7
to push.
picks so far.
Board is it's falling beautifully for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think all of the 7 that have gone so far, I'd have picked in this sort of spot. Like, I'm not surprised by who it is, but you're right, I didn't really want any of them. I'd have taken Watson at 34 if we hadn't gone for Jameson Williams. I'd have been okay with that. But that's it.
Kyler's undersized, though. I mean, he's going to have a hard job against the likes of Chark and that, trying to win against them.
DJ Chuck.
I don't get the Bears. I guess they're trying to rebuild the defense again from scratch, but haven't they realized how horrible that offense has been for years now? Even having Allen Robinson and David Montgomery, that offense has been terrible to watch. The line can't protect Montgomery, and they've had bog standard QBs throwing at Robinson. It's like they need to protect Fields. He's going to die.
And when Robinson's out of there, Robinson's gone.
Yeah, he's going to die. So, and who's he got to throw at this year? Darnell Mooney, who's had one good year. You know, they're relying on him being as good as he was last year, leading that room at the minute, and no one behind him. Now, this could be a quarterback finally. I have them going Willis. This could be Willis.
They've got to take Malik Willis at 40 or 41.
You've got
surely.
Go Willis, and then they can... Because I had them going corner afterwards, so if they take Willis and Booth now, then that's a decent result for them. Yeah, it's a decent result for them if those are the 2 picks.
Absolutely. Time to bring on our next guest of the evening. One of my favourite guests from last year, Ryan from Indie Colts UK. How you doing, man?
Well, that's very kind of you. Can you hear me? To be honest, if I cut out at any point tonight, do blame the shocking Wi-Fi here at the University of Sheffield. It's not ideal at all. But if I'm being honest, I'm really glad to be back. I really enjoyed my time last year. So thank you very much for having me back. I'm glad I made a solid impression on you guys.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely fantastic. You blew us away with your knowledge of pretty much everything, not just the Colts, but your depth was fantastic. And you've joined us at an opportune time because I'm pretty sure that you're going to be on the clock in the next few minutes. So who you're picking at 42, pick 40 is in, and 41 might be in just a moment. So who do you anticipate being taken off the board then? You're also picking at 73 as well. Who are you looking for?
Right, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is probably one of the draft classes that I've paid the least attention to in the last sort of 10 years or so. It's one of those ones where I've been quite a busy guy with university work and obviously following the Colts over the season. So I've sort of this draft class has sort of taken a back seat in sort of my mind this year. However, I think a receiver is pretty much the unanimous pick amongst most Colts fans this year. Obviously Michael Pittman had a really good year, sort of breaking out 1,000 yards. T.Y. Hilton moving on. Zach Pascal obviously signed a contract over at the Philadelphia Eagles this year. So it's one of those ones where, we've brought in Matty Ice. We need someone for him to throw to it outside of Michael Pittman. So, a big body guy on the outside to line up against Pittman would be pretty much exactly what I'm after at this point. I don't know how far I am behind you guys because I've just seen the Seahawks take their first pick of their second round.
No,
so,
right with you. Boyle Maffei at 40.
Again, because obviously our Wi-Fi is just dreadful at the minute. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. So, yeah. So, as I say, apologies. It is one of the draft classes I sort of taking the least attention to, but it's quite interesting because I'm quite enjoying going in blind this year.
So I think if you're looking for big body receivers, I don't know what the rest of you guys think, but the number one guy I'd be looking at is George Pickens. Any other dissenting views there? Yeah? All right.
I'd pick him up in a heartbeat if I was Colts.
I think John Mechie would be an interesting fit actually for the Colts as well. It would be a little bit of a reach here, but you saw what he did at Alabama when he was healthy. He was a really electric player. So if he can get over that injury, and what do you make of maybe Mechie to the Colts?
Well, I had them actually taking edge. I actually had them taking Maffei in 2 picks time, so I'm glad I got Maffei's kind of position right. But who did I have the Colts taking later? Because they've got 2 picks. How's someone going? I think Pickens is Pickens is very aggressive, very physical. He does fit the way the Colts play. I would like to see Pickens on that team. I'm not as down on him as a lot of other people are. I think, the off-field stuff can be tempered, and I think you can, finesse his game so that the aggression is a good thing and not a distraction. So I would love to see him there. But, I mean, there's a few other guys you can get at this point. Jalen Thomas there, David Bell. I think David Bell will go down really well there. They do like their... Oh, hello. I'll just see what this one's going.
Not messing about.
Kenneth Walker for Seattle.
Yep. Not quite.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my days.
Oh, we've just paid our running back loads of money to stay on after we didn't pick his 5th-year option, but we're going to take one in the 2nd round as well. What are they
Tell you
doing?
what, the Seahawks fan will love that because he was on about giving them a chance by having a dual tandem running back room, and they'll get that now because if Walker is one thing, he is durable. He does not get injured. So that actually does make a lot of sense for the Seahawks. I just thought they have much more pressing needs than that. They really seem to be going in on lock, which is interesting.
Worrying.
So the Colts went 9-8 last year. You had a pretty woeful start, 1-4 through the first 5 weeks, but then down the stretch you did fantastic before you lost with the season on the line at Jacksonville. How did it go overall for you? I mean, that run down the stretch of winning 6-7 in the middle of the season looks really good on paper, including some big wins against Buffalo, New England, Arizona. It seems like you raised your game against the best teams and then played down to your opposition.
See, yeah, this is the thing, 100%. See, we obviously say we have this. I mean, we blew out Buffalo in Buffalo. You know, that's a hard thing to do, especially with the team they've got at the minute. You know, I think Jonathan Taylor got 4 or 5 touchdowns that day. He was absolutely sensational that game, and obviously beating the New England for the first time in God knows how long since Peyton Manning was here. Do you know what I mean? That was the last time he beat New England. Andrew Luck never beat him for certain. And then obviously Arizona on Christmas Day, that was a good little victory. But obviously, as you say there, you know, when the season, this is the thing about the Colts last year. When the chips were down, when the seasons were on the line, it was one of those times where we just collapsed. I'm pretty sure if you look at the teams that are 2 games to go in the end of the season, and you see 98% chance to make the playoffs, I reckon 98% of the time they get in the playoffs. It's just we were the other 2%. Do you know what I mean? Like we fell against the Raiders, and then again Jacksonville, and I've got quite a close family member who is a Jacksonville fan, and that was an interesting afternoon at the office. So no, I can be honest, that game in Jacksonville is. I tried to race it from my mind. I drank quite a lot that night, if I remember rightly. But it was just one of those ones where nothing went right, absolutely nothing. I was thinking they scored on their sort of first drive, and I thought, right, fair enough. Maybe our defense isn't quite tuned in. And then it just kept coming, and we just couldn't get anything together on offense. And I'm pretty sure I sat here 12 months ago to you guys and said, you know what, Carson Wentz, it's a good little pickup. I think a different change of environment, getting back with Frank Reich will be a good career move for him. I'm ready to sort of ready to withdraw all of that. Have we got a trade?
You've traded with Minnesota. You're not picking.
Okay, brilliant. That is down to our core, 100%. I mean, this is the thing that I like about Chris Ballard, our GM, is the sort of, if there's no one on the board, he's not going to force it. Do you know what I mean? And I tweeted today, just because there's quarterbacks on the board left from the first round, don't go and get one, because Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, he's solid, and he's absolutely, do you know what I mean? He can go in and step in and sit in this offense exactly like Philip Rivers did this time 48 months ago, 24 months ago, 2 years ago, and say, right, coach's mentality, I know exactly what I'm doing. I think that's what Matt Ryan can bring to our offense this year. And to be honest, I'm quite glad they've traded away, because, picking up a few more picks, because if there's one thing that I know about Chris Ballard, as is 5 years as GM, 2017, is that he just, if the player's not there, he's not going to force it.
This could be Andrew Booth, I reckon.
I think you'll trade back the Colts. I think the Colts should get Sky Moore. I think that'd be a nice fit.
See, I've seen him mocked to us a few times over the last couple of weeks. As I say, I've sort of tuned into sort of the few mock drafts that I've seen on like The Athletic and things like that. But yeah, it's been one of those ones where I've just sort of had quite no time to sort of tune into the draft. But yeah.
Just going back to that Jags game, if I can.
Oh, do you have to?
Like it was really interesting. What's your owner called? I can't remember your owner's name.
Jim Irsay.
Yeah. When he did his press conference after Wentz left, like you could see he was still pissed at Wentz about that Jaguars game, and he didn't make any attempt to hide it, did he? It was incredible, like press conference. He kind of just basically told everyone how fucked off he was about that Jacksonville game, and kind of like really shat on Wentz. It was quite as an outsider, it was quite a popcorn moment. What did you make of that?
You think he was pissed? Do you know what I mean? Listen, our owner is one of those guys. He's one of those men who is just sort of, he's not going to hide his feelings, and he's sometimes it's to his detriment, sometimes it's to his advantage, and it depends whether it's we need to go and get a receiver in the draft, or it's going to be, we're going to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to say, right, Jim, come on. Do you know what I mean? But no, he's one of those people who is ambitious, to say the least. But no, I 100% agree with what he said, because it was one of those ones where it was just not a bad idea all around, because the Wentz experiment wasn't, I don't think, a dreadful idea. As the people in the front office said, there was no regrets, but it was a mistake that maybe needed to be made, just to say, right, let's move on. Do you know what I mean? Because he was the best available last year. We've picked up Matty Ryan this year, who is probably the best available, because if we hadn't got Ryan, it would have been Mayfield, Garoppolo, Bridgewater, who I have it was the best. Ryan was the best opportunity available, and so it was just one of those ones where Jim Irsay, he's just like, he's an outspoken bloke.
He's like your racist uncle after a few drinks at a party, isn't he?
Do you know what? That is a perfect comparison. 100% tie that to him. Do you know what I mean? He's just one of those people. He's sort of, yeah, right. You've had a few cans too many. Do you know what I mean? Calm it down. He's quite keen on. I mean, football's only one of his passions. I'm pretty sure he collects sort of ancient guitars and things like that from the Beatles and things like that. So it's just one of those ones, isn't it? Where
you say Wentz was the best option, but does a part of you not wish you made a better offer for Stafford?
Oh no. Well, yeah, you say that. I mean, I think we were in the Stafford sort of negotiations, and Stafford, as I say, I think if you look back on my tweet, Stafford and Rodgers, obviously I don't think Rodgers was going to leave Green Bay in the slightest. Stafford was my number one choice. He was, I've always said that Stafford, you give him the competent sort of surrounding cast, and he's gonna perform it. Obviously, you saw that last year. He's brilliant. And if I'm being honest, yes, I would have loved to get Stafford, but as I said to you, Chris Ballard, he's one of those GMs that just if it's not there, he's not going to force it. He's not going to say, right, I'm going to pay you over what I expect. And Wentz was available for a third round and a conditional second, and obviously that jumped to a first this year. And if I'm being honest, if there was a first round class where I was glad to not have a first round pick, it'd probably be this one, because as I've said, obviously I've been sort of in the background, but when there's a lot of teams sort of calling up to trade out of the first round this year, as there was this year, sometimes you think maybe it was a bit of a stroke of luck to, if you weren't going to get a first round pick, you'd rather have it this year than any other.
So I just got the Vikings guy on the podium throwing massive shade on the Packers. It's great. I'm absolutely loving what's happening right now. Having a look at your depth chart, you've obviously invested in Stephon Gilmore, Yannick Ngakoue, and you took DeForest Buckner in that trade a little while ago. You drafted Kwity Paye. That defense looks fearsome, so I presume that you're going to be competing hard on that side of the ball, never mind the fact that you've got the best linebacker in the league in Darius Leonard. Are you expecting this draft to be pretty offensive focused?
To an extent, yes. I mean, obviously the defense is pretty strong, as you mentioned. Kwity Paye developed Hurricane Deo, they call him. I can't remember his last name.
Ode Bingo?
That's the one, yeah. It's quite hard to pronounce. I didn't want to butcher it. Do you know what I mean? He came out of Villanueva last year, and he showed a sort of few sparks. Obviously, had an Achilles injury and had to come off that. So the defense there is pretty much ready. I mean, I'd like to see them pick up maybe a cornerback, and maybe an edge rusher, possibly, because you can never have too many cornerbacks and edge rushers. And obviously, Chris Ballard, again, if you paid attention to his draft history, he picks up about 3 defensive linemen every draft. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those ones. However, yeah, 100%. We should go offensive heavy, in my opinion. I think at least 2 wide receivers is necessary. I could see them picking up a couple of offensive linemen as well, because obviously we had a few departures off there. Matt Glowinski left to go to the Giants. And he was our starting right guard. We're going to slot Danny Pinter in there. I think we drafted him a few years ago. So it's just about picking up depth, I think, on the offensive line, in the trenches and things like that. Don't rule out a linebacker either, because Bobby Okeriki's sort of approaching the end of his contract, and we pretty much drafted Okereke to be Anthony Walker's replacement about 3 years ago. So I would expect I would say it's an outside chance to become a linebacker to be Okereke's replacement in a few years, because obviously contract time will be coming up soon for him.
Looking ahead to next season, how do you think the Colts are going to do? Because it's an interesting division where you guys should be competitive, I'd have thought, but you never know how that's going to go. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could elevate, and obviously Jacksonville have spent a huge amount of money, and I mean, I don't expect that to work, but we'll see. So, what do you make of next season for the Colts?
I mean, we've seen it for years in Jacksonville. Do you know what I mean? They just overspend on quite a lot of prospects, and you saw it again this year. Was it Christian Kirk they paid $120 million for, or something like that? It's just, giving a wide receiver like that quarterback money is ridiculous. But the division is one of those odd ones where anyone beats anyone. the first thing the Colts need to focus about this season is beating the Titans. And if you can't beat the Titans, you won't go anywhere, because if we want to make a playoff run, we're going to have to win the division, because we want a home playoff game and things like that. And which, do you know what I mean? It's so much easier if you can get into playoffs winning the division. And we haven't won the division since 2014, I think, off the top of my head. So it's one of those ones where, beat the Titans twice, that'd be ideal. I mean, once out of twice would be okay as well. I mean, the Titans trading away AJ Brown last night was was music to my ears, because outside of Derrick Henry, he was the sort of the guy that sort of feared me the most from the Titans. So, no, I mean, Houston are obviously, who knows where Houston, Jesus Christ. And Jacksonville, another one who is sort of a bit of an unknown quantity going into this season. But it's pretty much, if we can win the division, then I think that it stands us in pretty good stead going into the playoffs. But again, the key for us, I think, is just making a fast start. If you look at I don't think we've won an opening game in 8-9 years, if you were to sort of go back the history, which is pathetic to think about it. And obviously, as you said before, on top of my sort of interview, 1-4, I think we started last season. So it's just one of those things where we spend so much energy clawing back from where we were that we don't actually, we burn out towards the end of the season. Just as you saw last year in Jacksonville, we just can't limp over the line. So a fast start is needed. I don't want to label predictions on how we're going to do this season, because it's one of those things where the Colts football is just so difficult to predict. So I'm not entirely sure. But again, a fast start, do you know what I mean? Picking up wins where we should really be winning. We can't be losing to Jacksonville on the road again. We haven't won in Jacksonville since 2014. That includes the game in London, which was, Jesus Christ, I don't even think about that. It's just one of those ones where you have to sort of, if we can sort of winning the division is the main priority. Never mind the playoffs. I just want to win the division this year.
Some AFC South news. The Houston Texans have just traded up.
Wan'Dale Robinson, that is a huge reach.
Yes,
that's a bad pick.
That's the second biggest reach of the draft so far. Cole Strange, the first to the Pats in the first round, but Wan'Dale Robinson was something like 98 on my big board, going at 43 to the Giants.
Kadarius Toney is going to be a bust, and now they've reached for Wan'Dale Robinson.
There's so many good guys left. Pickens is there,
Sky Moore is a better
is there. Jalen Tolbert is better. David Bell is better. There's a lot of good receivers there, and they've picked. Oh, I don't get that. I really, really don't get that. But keep pushing the defenders down to us. We're going to have a right choice in a couple of picks' time.
Yeah, we will for sure. If we don't trade back, and I wouldn't rule that out right now. Dark Blue Gold, who was our Pats guy on yesterday, just said that the Pats are reach-around champions.
I'm just intrigued. Where are the quarterbacks for? The quarterbacks could go to day 3 at this rate. If they keep getting passed on, we thought Carson Strong would be the only one going to day 3. I don't think he's on his own now. There's got to be 3 or 4 of them who end up down there.
Yeah.
The Saints could pick up a quarterback at 49 at this rate. They're only like 5 picks away.
Their pick of quarterback.
What a steal that'd be, wouldn't it, for them?
Yeah. Ryan, we're approaching the end of our time, my man. But just tell us where you're at and your socials and what have you.
Okay, so you can follow us at Indie Colts UK. If you're watching on YouTube, I've got my sort of name and my tags as my name on here. So you can follow us at Indie Colts UK. I sort of go a little bit quiet during the off season, because the off season is sort of when my academic work starts to pick up. So which is sort of quite good for me. But I usually tweet pretty heavily during the season. Send a lot of interesting tweets to other teams, which is, I think, pretty funny. But it depends how you think. I'm pretty sure I sent some Naheem Hines slander towards you guys a couple of years ago after that masterclass in Ford Field the other year. So yeah.
That was painful. I still remember that. He somersaulted into the end zone, and that killed me a little bit.
He's a great player, mate. Do you know what I mean?
He's the best running back 2 in the league? And I don't think it's close. So there we go. Thank you so much for coming on, Ryan. It's been a long 12 months with not seeing you, but let's not keep it at 12 months before the next time.
Well, I'm always here, ready for a chat because I love coming on with you guys. It was brilliant last year. It's been brilliant tonight, and as I say, I'm always happy to come on. Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
Okay.
Cheers, Ryan.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Bye.
It's going to be receiver, is it?
Oh, I like that Texas
John
pick,
Mechie for the Houston.
Whoa, hang on. Stop
I like
announcing the
that.
picks before the. There we go.
Well,
Receiver.
Wow.
Got it.
Sorry, I forgot I was 4 seconds ahead. I paused my stream 4 seconds to come up with you guys, so I'll pause it for another couple of seconds.
I like that pick.
Like, the board is wide open for us. Don't
Yeah.
fuck
So,
this up.
yeah.
Don't fuck
So
this
got-
up.
No
Got Chad
offensive
Murray,
player.
yeah. You've got Chad Murray, you've got N'Kobe Dean, you've got Jaquan Brisker, you've got Channing Tindall, you've got Troy Anderson,
Leo
Travis Jones.
Chanel, Travis
Leo
Jones.
Chanel.
Leo Chanel, Travis Jones. We got the lot of them.
Yeah,
Please
but
just
the
take
way
a line
it's
back and
going,
say
we
it.
could be trading up from 97 for one of these guys rather than taking them now. It doesn't have to
I'd
be
start
immediately.
using next year's picks to come up and get some of these guys. I
Yeah.
honestly would.
Right, I'm going to take a quick break. Coming up in 10 minutes' time, we've got Andrew at Brick Breaks. He's our Cincinnati Bengals fan, and he's one of the trading cards NFL guys as well. So that's going to be really interesting.
Oh.
But I am taking a quick 5-minute break. The rest of the guys can discuss what's happening with the lines on the clock in 2 picks' time.
Oh, this is
Good
this is
picks.
crazy. Some of these picks are I can't explain. You know, Wandale is a reach. The Seahawks not going for a quarterback is confusing. You know, in fairness, I like the Vikings pick. I hate to say it. I had them mocked. I took my first shot because I had them mocked with Booth at 34, but they went 8 positions down and still got him.
Fuck with the Bears pick. What the fuck with the Bears pick of Kyler Gordon?
I can see where they're trying to rebuild the defense again. Obviously, they've let go all the defenders who've been the staple of them for so long, but you've invested in a rookie
But Jalen
quarterback.
Johnson's really small too.
Yeah, you've
They've
invested
got
in
2 tiny corners.
You've invested in a quarterback in Justin Fields. You've got to give him an opportunity to succeed. And with no offensive line there, they need to fix it. They have Bernard Raymond. They could have taken him right there. They could have given him George Pickens. They could have given him Sky Moore. They could have given him another receiving option. Building that defense is just wasting his rookie deal. And I just don't get it from them. Corner's a fairly deep class. You can still get a decent corner into the hundreds. For an undersized guy as well, it's honestly.
Do we think there's any chance that we're going to take Malik Willis?
No.
Fucking hope not.
So,
We take an offensive player.
I'm gonna be
really
upset. I'm gonna be upset. We've done our deals now. It had to be a defense-heavy draft. We went and got wide receiver 1. That's fine, but we've given up 2 picks for them in theory. So that's it. 2 picks, no more. Not even the guys at the end of the draft. You know, I had guys like Ryan Vandermark, the tackle, stuff like that. I'd get rid of them now. I'd just go and try and find guys to undrafted free agency. It's got to be defense. I mean, Ravens here, I have them going edge rusher, but I don't know who's left now. Boy Maffei's gone. Ebikete's gone. Logan Hall's gone. Could be Cameron Thomas.
Benito.
Or Kingsley Anagbare. Though I think those 2 could be in play now.
Benito still there.
Have you seen the deal that the
Benito,
Vikings
yeah.
did with the Colts? So
Yeah.
the Vikings got pick 42 and also 122, but the Colts got 53, 77, and 192. So that seems to me a terrible deal for the Vikings.
I think I don't like a guy who moves around all the time like that. I think you need to make picks eventually. I think it's a good pick for them, but they're not picking now again until near 100, is it? Because they've given up the 250s now.
Oh, I've seen the Ravens pick.
Let's have a look. I'm about 10 seconds away.
A Jabbo.
I told you, edge rusher. There we go.
So they've now got him. They've now got Jason Elway, Patrick Queen. So it's got potential, that pass rush.
Yeah, and they can give him a bit of time to get healthy.
Yeah, that's a great pick for the Ravens. I think Sean from the Chargers, he called it. He said like a mid round guy where they doesn't have to start straight away. And I think
offside, yeah.
Well, the lines are on the clock.
Right.
Yeah.
We're on the clock. We're not trading, I don't think. Right.
You know what? The Ravens have had a damn good draft. They've got Tyler Linderbaum in there. They've got Kyle Hamilton in there. They've got extra picks. They've now got a Jarbo. You know, they've had a really, really good draft. I mean, the Jets had until they took a running back as well. I think that puts the Ravens out in front now for who's had the best until this pick with us. Please don't announce it. Oh yeah, right. The future is now. The Detroit Lions pick is en route. I mean,
I think I'm ahead, so I'm just gonna sit stony faced. I won't pull a face. I'll just
but if it's a quarterback, I'll see the cracks appear in your face, Ryan. Even you can't hide that way. You just be like,
I'll just go like this. I'll just put my hat down.
You know, like when you shake when you can't contain yourself and you just shake more
and
more.
Who's it going to be? Come on,
Jaquan Brisker. I'm calling Jaquan Brisker. I think we're going to go safety because that safety room is atrocious and we need one. And if Risden's right that we don't want linebackers, then
selection. Show me the selection. Oh,
right. Where are we
maybe
going?
Nakobe Dean, maybe. Briscoe or Dean, I'm happier with.
I'd be underwhelmed with Nakobe Dean now, especially with the injury worries. We've taken an injury-prone guy already, and we're waiting for that. So, where's Barry? I thought Barry was introducing him. Come on.
Oh,
I
don't know how to feel. I'm looking at the pick. I'm not saying anything. Tom will be happy.
Oh,
what?
Oh,
Tom will be happy. Tom will be happy. Tom called this.
Oh my God!
Oh, we've double dipped on Edge.
Wow! Here comes
He
Tom.
can play backers. I said Tom would be happy. Look, here he is.
Here he is.
Can do it.
Here he comes. Captain
Hey,
of the defense.
I kind of like it.
I
think he can play some backer too. Like say, I think he's going to be a guy that plays all over.
Can I just ask who 45 was and to who?
It was David Ojabo to the Ravens. Do you know what? I don't hate this pick. I don't hate it.
We love our Kentucky players.
Okay, guys, I've hardly seen anything of Josh Paschal. So, do you want to just get you college guys or Tom? Give me a heads up.
Super.
You know what?
He's got a big engine.
I feel like we weren't very complimentary about him when we did our edge rushes on the college draft. That is
not tons of production. The production's not always there, but he's got a proper big motor. He don't stop going. Plays inside, plays outside. He can stand up, can put the hand in the dirt. He does a little bit of everything. He's super athletic.
Like 3 and 5.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got that versatility. So when we did our mocks, and I had Logan Hall going at 66. Pascal is similar kind of style in that he's a guy who'll probably play strong side end, can go inside when we need to on third down, but just has some of that versatility, which we're going to want. Because obviously, yeah, we go 4-man fronts this year, but we're still going to have a lot of hybrid stuff. So I like it. Like I say, he's not perfectly developed, but he's athletic as hell. He graded out really well with PFF last year as well. So yeah, I was kind of, this is what I was getting at. Obviously, Andrew Booth is gone, disappointing, but I thought the Lions were not going to go with traditional need because Holmes has said again and again, he just goes for the guy who's top of his board. So a bit of a surprise, but yeah, I'm kind of here for it.
I won't be surprised to see us trade back up soon.
But who the hell?
I think we're going to be aggressive.
But it's almost getting neglectful now, though, the linebacker and safety rooms. It is getting to the point of neglect. And I get that they go for the top guy on the board, and I'm not unhappy with it. But we are neglecting the safety room. We are neglecting the linebacking core. We are not solving big problems we have. Pascal's not going to come in and help stop the run game down the interior. He's not going to come in and help the secondary. We've got Charles Harris and Romeo Okwara here. So what the hell are we going to do now? We're now overloaded with pass rushing guys and defensive edges.
I mean, does this spell the end for Julian Okwara?
Julian's got to go. Julian's got to go. Julian's got to go.
Then Brian's
got to go. I think you cut house now. You start with them four. Anyone else is a cut candidate now. Unless Julian got a future as an outside linebacker? Could you
maybe move him back?
There?
He's not a great fit now with the four fronts, right? I don't think he's really a guy you want to stand up and shed and move around in a true off-ball way. So, yeah, he's in a bit of an odd spot, to be honest.
I think that's them calling time on him. I truly do. Because Charles Harris is going to play. He had a good year last year. Romeo's obviously going to play when he comes back. And, Pascal and Hutchinson are going to play. Fair enough, you might spend a bit of time finessing Pascal a bit because you need to, but... Oh, man.
I think this makes Harris...
I like the player, but I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that we have obvious needs and we're not dealing with them.
I think that this makes Harris a prime trade candidate.
No.
Just putting that out there, I think that he will be available for a second-round pick.
I think Romeo might.
That's treating your players like crap, though. We don't do that.
No, maybe not. But anyway, it's time to bring on our next guest. Brick Breaks himself.
Wow.
Andrew's in the building. How you doing, man?
I'm not doing too badly. It seems to come at a tough time for you guys, but I quite like Pascal as a player. So, yeah, not the worst.
I think that you're echoing the thoughts that several people have had in terms of like the player. And that's what I've heard about him a lot. But do you think it's a bit of a reach at 46 still?
It's tough at this kind of stage now that once you get out of those first 30, you're kind of looking at guys that you like and as a system and work for you guys. So if the front office fell in love with them, I think you can kind of understand it at this level. He was a guy that I was wanting kind of 63-ish to the Bengals. So a little high, but I mean, without pass rush, you can't be a good NFL team. So adding Hutchinson and Pascal is exciting. So fingers crossed they both pan out.
Absolutely. You had the second to last pick in the first round, and you selected the Michigan man, slot corner safety Daxton Hill. How are you feeling on that one?
So I've taken a bit of time away from it, and I'm pretty much still where I was after the pick. It's a B grade for me. I think it's the best player available on the board. I think they had him as a top 20 guy. I think they had him close to kind of Hamilton in terms of safeties. It gives us probably the best trio of safeties in the league with Bates, Von Bell, and Hill next year. So diamond nickel packages will be fantastic. Super IQ guy, great athlete, but it leaves us with the same needs we came in with the draft. We still need a boundary corner above Eli Apple. We still need a free technique beyond kind of BJ Hill. That's all we really have in terms of pass rushing at free tech. So I like it in terms of what it offers and versatility, but I still think we have the same needs long term.
And you haven't done too much trading of picks, so you've kind of got your standard few. You've got one extra one in the 7th, but otherwise 31, 63, 95, 136. Looking at your roster, your depth chart, what's the sort of players that you're banging the table for at those picks? Who do you hope you take tonight?
So, yeah, these are the two big ones for me, especially after that. So I think it is corner and it's free tech. So Travis Jones is still there. That's a guy that I'm really interested in. I think the ceiling with him is that he can pass rush with that athleticism. The floor is that he sits behind DJ Reader and takes over from Reader when his contract ends in 23, 24. So I think that's a nice pick, especially if he falls to 63. That's a steal for me. Corners is getting tight. This is why I was kind of always team corner at 31, is because you don't get starting talent outside the first round typically. Cam Taylor-Britt is probably the only guy left really that I really like as a starter, plug and play starter. 4.28 40 speed, comes from Nebraska where Zach Taylor played his sport, and his dad was a coach there too. Zion McCollum is probably one I think about. Really long rangey athlete guy. Only played small school because his twin was there, so I wanted to stay with him. I'm not
Tariq
super
Woolen.
high. Sorry,
Tariq Woolen, maybe.
I'm not super high on him. Just super raw. The 6'4" size is amazing, the athleticism, but he's so raw. Just like, he's not a year one guy for me. And starting Eli Apple for 17 games is a scary thought. Yeah, there's a few more. Emerson is big again, but his tape's not super exciting. So yeah, I'm a bit worried about where we are with corner. So that's my biggest concern. Tight end, we added Hayden Hurst, and I think they're sneaky high on him. He's kind of snuck behind Mark Andrews with the Ravens, and then behind Kyle Pitts with the Falcons. So I think they're willing to give him a chance. I don't think Trey McBride is the pick this round. Maybe if he's in there at the third, they see that as value, but I don't think it's him. I think there's a lot of day three guys as well with Ruckert, Ferguson, Turner, Killar, those kind of guys.
No, I know.
Sorry.
I'm upset.
The Bears have just picked, and obviously that's a motive for us. They've taken a guy that a lot of us wanted here, Jaquan Brisker, the safety. So that has not gone down well. Sorry to interrupt you there in your flow.
It's okay. I can see the emotion on faces there. Yeah, what can
to
you
the
do?
Bears? Anyone but to the Bears.
They're just going to let Justin Fields die and give him no receiving options. In fact, I don't
Justin
mind
Fields
that,
has no receivers, no offensive line.
no offensive line, and they're not doing a damn thing about it.
It's a good pick in isolation. It's a terrible pick in context. So we are good with that. Let's have a look back to last year, because there was someone on this podcast, I don't know who, because he doesn't shout about it very much, Steve. But there's someone who picks you to win the division early on, and actually you ended up obviously going to the Super Bowl, and I think a lot of people were pulling for you as the rank underdog coming into the season to pull an upset. Kind of everyone's second team at the moment with Burrow and Chase and everything that you guys do. Like you say, best trio of safeties potentially in the league. Best trio of receivers in the league, maybe too. How do you feel that the season went? You must be over the moon, really.
It's different, definitely. Coming from years of we had some excitement in early Dalton, AJ, but the kind of last 5 years were pitiful. So it all changed when Burrow came. Simple as that. The atmosphere in the kind of the building. There's been a kind of internal change in ownership. Kind of Mike Brown has stepped back a bit, and his kids have kind of taken over, and grandchildren have kind of stepped up in the business. So we've seen a lot of change in terms of how they interact with fans, the kind of game day experience, etc. So, and that's kind of just snowballed into the on-field stuff as well. So I think I was on here last year saying I wanted Penne, and I think he's done fairly well for you guys, but Chase is just, you can't, that's the dream scenario for a wide receiver in his first year. The connection they built, I know it's pre-established with their LSU season, but to come in and click like that in the NFL, it just doesn't happen. And it was fantastic to watch. And being just a minute away from a Super Bowl title was tough at the time, but it's just such an exciting kind of place to be. And with the free agency we've had, bringing in Karras to play center, Kappa from Tampa Bay for our Mauler kind of right guard, and then Lel Collins was just the cherry on top, really. So it really is just a really exciting place to be at the minute.
Yeah, like you said, you've invested massively on that line. It's amazing that you've kind of gone to the Super Bowl and that you've managed to do this, but of course, offensive line is always about chemistry and about reps. Are you worried that even though you've made this investment, there may be a little bit of regression this year because of sort of some bedding in with some of these new guys before you kind of make that surge again? Or do you think that Burrow and Chase can kind of just keep carrying you on while everyone kind of gets settled in that building?
I think it was so bad last year. I don't think it can be much worse. I mean, we're the 31st PFF graded O-line, so the kind of the speed they can get the ball out helps. But there may be some teething issues early, definitely. But I think that there's no way this O-line isn't at least kind of mid tier in the NFL. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see how it changes.
Looking in division, you've got Pittsburgh, who have potentially taken their quarterback of the future in Kenny Pickett. What are you making of him? I mean, he splits opinion, shall we say?
I think he's the easy sell. He's the Pittsburgh kid. Very tiny hands, as everyone loves to point out. He's a good. The whole of this quarterback class they have bits that you like about them, but none of them are the guy. There's a reason why only one went in the first round. There's none of them that you can just bang the table for and say this guy is an absolute all pro from week one. Like this class just doesn't. Some of them may turn out to be, and this is the interesting thing with NFL drafts. It's about where they fit and where they go to as much as anything else. But I just wasn't super in love with any of these quarterbacks. So kind of happy to see Pickett. It's more the kind of the athleticism we'll see from Watson coming into the division with the Browns, and obviously Lamar with the Steelers, and now they've stolen Tyler Linderbaum off us, who was kind of one of the guys we were looking for at 31. So that's again why we've added more athleticism to the safety room, is when you have to kind of have those spy guys for Watson and Lamar. That's the route that they've decided to go down.
I think Ant's interest will be piqued, given that he was mocking you at 31 Linderbaum all day, weren't you, Ant?
Yeah. Well, I just didn't think anyone else was going to take him, but Ravens traded back and got him. So it would have been a great fit.
Do you think that you are going to take that division next year? Because the Ravens can't keep being this underwhelming with that roster for so long, can they?
I hope they are, but I think they were so brutally beaten up by injuries last year. I don't see how they can be that bad this coming year. I think they've had a really good draft so far as well with Hamilton, Linderbaum, and who they picked up. Who did they pick up in this one? Ajabo. If he can get healthy, and because they've got Odafe away as well, that's an interesting edge pair. So there's talent there. They've got a new DC obviously this year, so that'll be interesting how that changes the Ravens. But they're just a very good franchise. As annoying it is to say, it's similar with the Steelers. They make mistakes, but overall they're a pretty good franchise in how they develop and maintain talent. So it's always a challenging division every year. It's very tough to say you'll win it. You hope you have, because of the talent on that offense, but we'll see.
Alontae Taylor to the Saints.
That feels like a bit of a reach.
That's early.
Holy
That is
moly.
early. Why is no one going quarterback? What is wrong?
Did they announce him as a corner?
Yes.
Yeah, he is a cornerback.
There was a lot of chat about him. Yeah, a lot of. They called him a safety, did they?
So,
yeah.
I'm looking at a graphic that says safety.
Yeah, there's a lot of chat about him moving there.
It's still early, though. I mean,
it's definitely still early.
At this point now, even these QBs represent great value now at these picks because they're potential starters. I think at 2, it's far too rich. But right now, their value is insanely good, especially for Willis and Howell and Ridder.
So what you're saying is you trade up for one of these guys, Ant?
No, not us. Screw that. I don't want to see
anyone but us. No.
I don't want to see an offensive player, and I don't want to see any more investment in the trenches. That's it. I'm done. I can't take any more trench investment.
I want 2 more guards in our next 2 picks.
Have you picked up a guard this year yet?
No. I think he'll be one of our late picks potentially, but now we've got fewer, maybe less so. But
I like your tackles. I like Ragnar, obviously, but I was thinking someone as well as Jonah Jackson. But if you like both your guards, then fair play.
I love
They're
both
very
our
good.
guards, to be honest.
They're
Vaitai
very
came
good.
on leaps and bounds last year. He went from liability and an injury risk to someone who almost justified his wage. So, that's an improvement. We kind of skirted around one of the major issues in the division, which is Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. I mean, that roster, it was said, was ready to go, and they were going to be Super Bowl contenders. I think they were one of the top picks pre-season for Super Bowl contention in the AFC, and they've upgraded. So presumably they're going to be a big threat.
Yeah. Wide receiver, I think they've degraded, but as good as the Ravens and the Steelers have been at GM and roster management, I think the Browns have just been terrible recently. They're desperately clamoring to kind of create this side. They know it's their window. They've created this roster, but they just seem to be falling short. So Browns are my least worry of the four. Yeah.
Patriots have taken 50 off Kansas City. Please do another stupid pick.
Go quarterback.
Please.
Go quarterback.
Who
Sure.
is this? Is this
I
going to
think
be?
this could be a receiver.
Chanel.
I think this could
Who
be
the
a
hell-
receiver.
Could see it.
They need a
N'Keal
line.
Harris.
They need a
N'Keal
linebacker
Harris
as well.
Did
Maybe
Right.
someone to back up Cole Strange as well, or they just go back to Chattanooga and take the next best Chattanooga player.
I mocked Brian Asamoah, but I'm not very confident in that now.
Pickens. What about Pickens here?
I think it
No,
could be a big
no,
receiver.
not
I
with
don't
his
think the
attitude
fit-
issues.
I don't think the fit works. Yeah,
Not with his attitude issues and Bill. That's
Skylar-
not a place.
Alec
where he'll
Pierce.
go.
it could be.
Alec Pierce, wide receiver. Bill Belichick.
David Bell. David Bell's an upstanding guy. He fits the kind of personality mold of a Patriots receiver. Very technical in the way he does things, not flashy, because he doesn't like his flashy receivers.
Something like Troy Anderson.
Or, in fact, I think Andrew mentioned Cam Taylor-Britt, and they need to replace their cornerback.
Yeah, I was thinking corner. I hope it's not, but we'll see.
I mean,
This is-
Bill loves Bama guys as well. Christian Harris could be in play.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Oh, I could see Nick Benito as well.
Basically, we're just saying every player that's available. So
Jad Muma.
It's Bill Belichick, who's number 110 on the board. Actually, Kobe Bryant. I'm going to go for Kobe Bryant.
ooh, okay.
Only a fifth round pick to go up 4 spots.
On Twitter, like people like Jeff Risdon, they're talking about Josh Pascal like he's a linebacker.
No,
I think he
I
could
mean,
be.
what does he weigh?
that's a very
He's not
rude
super
question,
heavy.
Tom.
Yeah, I
He's only
thought
like-
he was a big dude, but
I think he's at like 2.
yeah, he's like 270. So, I mean, he's heavier than Hutchinson, if that gives you context.
Can't play him a linebacker. Come on. Right, come on, give us a bloody pick. Any further questions on the Cincinnati Bengals? So while we're here, boys.
Yeah, sorry, very distracted. This is going to sound This is going to sound stupid now. Obviously, before the season, you had the preseason. Jamar Chase was dropping balls in practice and all this kind of nonsense, and word starts to get out. And I think we've all been part of. Well, we get it with our fan base. Every fan base gets it. Suddenly, people get hot takey and things like that. Did you start to see that with friends of yours or other fans? People starting to say, "What have we done?" Panay Sewell was there. Jamar Chase, the guy can't even catch. Obviously, like, he hadn't even played the NFL snap at this stage. But did you start to see some of that in the fan base?
Oh, 100%. It got very 50-50 and split and quite heated at times between the kind of team Chase, team Penne.
Yeah.
So as soon as Chase was dropping balls, there was a lot of kind of smirky tweets around Penne. It just shows it's so little. He didn't help himself when he came out with a comment about not having the stripe on the ball, like college ball. That was a kind of an own goal, but it just shows preseason is so little, especially with the way they had the COVID season and stuff. They weren't training how they would have done the last kind of year, 2 years.
Yeah. and the irony is, you probably weren't following it, but Sewell was getting absolutely buried in the preseason at the same time. So Lions fans were like, "Oh, he's a bust." So it's just, yeah, all of it's nonsense when you're calling people out 3 games into a preseason about whether they're going to be a bust.
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing even early season there was retweets of Penny grades, great game by game. It was an interesting. But yeah, I think both are going to be stars in the league. So
Yeah.
I think it was such a win-win situation for me. So super happy that Chase has come on so early and already breaking franchise records.
Yeah, risks NFL records pretty soon, I reckon. He's a stud.
Yeah. And then picking.
Got to be a receiver.
I think I'm about 10 seconds behind you guys. So
Right.
That is a serious reach.
I had him as a day 3 guy, so that's.
Oh.
Oh,
Jesus Christ! Oh my God!
Let's go!
whoa, okay.
I love
Wow.
it so much. Let's go, Bill.
Alec Pierce is still on the board.
Yeah, I can't believe
How can you
Alec.
pick him over Alec Pierce?
Sky Moore. Is Sky Moore still on the board, right? I'm not losing my mind.
Yeah, David Bell's there. Jalen Talbot's there.
I mean, we're still about 150 picks
crazy.
for David Bell. But
Thornton was the guy that ran the 4.21 that got changed to the 4.28, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So just
he's a big dude too, but he's very linear. So like, yeah, he's a crazy athlete, but it's all in one direction.
Yeah, he's a basic bitch, basically.
Yeah, so Tycon Thornton was on the consensus big board, and let me remind people that I built that from The Athletic, PFF, the Draft Network, and Pro Football Network. So no one mad, no one who's going to go too left field. Tycon Thornton is the number 167 pick on that board. And
It's
he's
either
gone
going to be
50.
It's either going to be genius or we're going to be laughing about this in a few years.
It's never genius because they didn't have to trade up for him. What are you doing?
So going into the first round this year, I can't remember who was talking about it, but a load of media people were saying the back of this first round could get crazy. But nothing really happened that surprising in the first round. Like all the guys expected to go kind of went in different places, but they did. The last 10 picks or so have been pretty all over the map.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's been very trade heavy this year as well, it seems.
Yeah.
It's been very fun.
Cole Strange and Tyquan Thornton. Christ alive.
God.
That is in contention for all-time worst draft, I think.
It's like when you're Bill, you get away with it, right? But I mean, we've experienced
If we did
firsthand the
that-
whole smartest person in the room thing, which comes from that building. And let's be honest, we've talked about it multiple times, even in the last 24 hours. The last 5 years, they've done this a lot, and it has not worked for them.
This has got Matt Patricia written
Raiders
all
pick.
over it.
That is even the Raiders wouldn't make that pick under Mayock. They would not. And that is how bad that pick is. Mike Mayock would look at that pick and go, "Oh my God, that is awful."
Andrew, we're coming to the end of our time, but I just want to give you an opportunity to talk about brick breaks, because I remember last time we talked and you do all the sort of card collecting, selling, what have you. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so kind of still kind of doing a lot of that. I used to do a lot of draft videos content. Not had the time this year. It's just been ridiculous kind of going back to the office and stuff. But yeah, a lot of card stuff. Got some nice Penny Sewell autos in my collection, so they're looking nice. Yeah, it's just kind of picking guys that you trust, and it helps knowing the draft because you can pick up early on guys that you like and projecting
now
if their values will go up. But yeah, it's just a fun, just kind of side hobby.
I knew you in the UK Facebook groups because I collect memorabilia as well. I'm sure I've been to some of your breaks.
Yeah, do you think you have?
Yeah, I'd always take the Lions because I collect Barry Sanders and Matthew Stafford signatures.
It's normally a cheaper PYT, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I like it.
Right, that's fantastic. Andrew, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Your knowledge is fantastic and always put a smile on our face. And Cincinnati is one of my teams that I kind of look out for when Detroit aren't doing so well. So pulling for you again this year, especially in that division, and wish you all the best. Hope you have a good draft.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're pretty good at second rounders. So I'm hopeful. We'll see. Take care, guys.
Cheers, Andrew. Thanks, man.
Bye.
Jesus
All right.
Christ, that Patriots pick.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
That isn't Patricia the new offensive coordinator there as well?
Yes, he is.
He's in it.
Is he officially the new OC?
He's the
He's an assistant.
He's the de
Yeah.
facto offensive coordinator.
Because Judge is also an assistant. Who just like it's when you see stuff like that, I feel bad for Andrew because we're having a good chat about things, and you're just like, I can't think about anything else than the fact they've just taken Tyquan Thornton, who was potentially a seventh rounder in the top 50.
Yeah,
if you
the
go
picks before, Alontae Taylor and Federian Mathis. I mean, I didn't have any of these in the second round.
Mathis is way early.
Taylor maybe as a third, Mathis maybe as a third, but really he was kind of seen as a kind of early day 3 guy, right? I mean, it's just
but like Wandale Robinson as well, and then Andrew Booth.
Yeah.
Andrew Booth, who's a surefire first rounder. Like,
Is this the XFL? This feels like an XFL draft. This is where some of these guys are going to end up.
If before this draft you were told you had a day in the draft when your 2 picks will be Cole Strange and Tyquan Thornton, you go, they're talking about my day 3 picks here, not your first 2 picks in the draft
50.
overall.
Yeah. Coming up in 5 minutes' time, we're going to be joined by Alex Murray at UK Detroit Lions, who's going to be in the building to chat with us for a little while. So that's going to be
right.
really
I've
cool.
got Christian Harris here to the Eagles. They need a linebacker, and Christian Harris has fallen right to them.
Well, I'm looking at the pick now. It's in.
I'm gonna bail out then.
Okay.
I don't know what to make of that all.
Oh, it means I'm not right then.
Could be great.
Ooh!
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's not even the second best centre in this draft.
Yeah, he is. Oh, no, Dylan Parham. Yeah.
I think a lot of people...
Jurgen's had quite a lot of love from... I mean, Oliver from Pro Football Network, he was really high on Jurgens. He called him out when we did the interview. So I think he had fans.
You've got Alec Lindstrom, who's still there, the Boston College centre, and they produce good offensive linemen. You've even got Donovan West, who I think is better than Cam Jurgens. You know,
the thing is, who was the Bama guy they took last year? I've completely forgotten. He tore his ACL.
Wait, haven't they still got Kelsey?
Yes, they've
so
still got
Kelsey's
Kelsey.
got on a 1 or 2 year, but it was the Bama guy from last year they took.
Position.
What is his name?
What position?
Center.
Did they take a centre last year?
Yeah, they did.
And they played him at guard with Kelsey out there, but he is a through and through.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Landon Dickerson.
Landon Dickerson.
Yeah, Landon. Like I thought it was the natural thing. He was going to get a bit like Ragnar did, a year at center, a year at guard, or a year or 2, and then move into center. But yeah, I mean,
Steelers pick's already in. Steelers literally have picked instantly.
You know what? I had them taking receiver earlier. The Pickens is there. I see Pickens been such a great fit for the.
Yeah.
I see
Alec
him being.
Pierce. Oh.
Yeah. Pickens up here. Pickens up here. I could see him been.
I'm looking at the pick now. I'm way early for some reason.
Booyah!
Shot time and.
No, that's not in my mock draft. Oh shit, it is.
Hey!
No, hang on.
Shots.
Oh fuck.
Shots.
And said voluntarily that he'd take a shot for every pick he got right in the mock draft for the second round. He posted in the Discord.
I didn't. On that one that you've got, I didn't have Pickens there, but I swapped him round. I think it was with Bell. I swapped him and Bell wherever I got them.
George Pickens and Claypool give you 2 serious physical deep threats. That is not fun to play against.
Also, 2 people that maybe are going to cause a few issues in the locker room.
Yeah.
Like Claypool just
and
needs
Deontay Johnson as well.
I can see why Steelers would like him, though. You know, Steelers
I like the pick. I like
very
the pick
special. Yeah. And I think
Colts pick is in.
Tomlin's going to be the one who gets like the best out of him there. So I got Colts again. I got Colts.
Yeah, picks in now.
I mean, again, if I'm the Colts here, I'm taking a quarterback. you're at the stage where your job is not on the line if you take it, right? We're past that, and I just don't see why you wouldn't take a risk at this stage.
I like that Colts pick.
I guess the Colts take an edge first time. Who have I got there?
I think Sky Moore here.
Cornerback, I reckon.
It's someone we have said recently.
Oh, they've gone receiver.
I like it.
Love that.
I hate
Costanzo looks like a fucking Gucci model here.
Hang on, did we say that to the Colts fan on earlier? We said, didn't we suggest Pierce as one of the guys to them?
Yeah.
I think that's a reach.
No.
Pierce,
not on the bloody Taekwon Thornton scale, it's not.
No, okay, fine, but he was 90 on the consensus board.
No, he's better than that.
Isn't every receiver a reach now? Because they're flying off the board, you are forced to take one.
Well, but Pickens wasn't.
I think this is good value.
I think we've just gone. I think we've moved down a tier in general, right? As in, I know you've still got guys like Nakobe Dean and things like that. A few guys have fallen, but like if you think about, there was that really nice group of players from about 20 to 40 on most boards. It feels like we're just kind of tipping over into the guys you were expecting to get in the third round, or in Taekwon Thornton's case, the 7th round. That you're suddenly seeing go now. So
all those linebackers are still on the board, like Christian Harris.
Yeah.
My man Travis Jones might fall to us in the
Tyndall,
third.
Chanel. They're all
Please
still
tell
on the
me.
board.
Please tell me we're not going to wait for
next
it. Please tell me we're gonna make some action or move up. I can't wait and just sit and watch them get picked off slowly.
I mean, we're at pick 53, and there are 9 players on the consensus big board ahead of that. So theoretically, there's still plenty of value here if you buy into that. I'm not even sure now that it even works, but there we go. I don't know if Alex is ready. I can see him there.
Yeah, you're mid conversation, so I didn't want to just jump in and shout. Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's been. I don't think this is the draft we expected about yesterday, to be honest. And that's not just the Lions. I don't think anyone kind of expected this. But yeah, if on my early thoughts on everything, I'm very happy with this. And considering I had many fears of what we could do, and we traded up and did wild things, and that's all I care about, you know.
So talk to us about the start of the draft. Number 2, Aiden Hutchinson. You happy with that? Is that who you thought we'd take?
Yeah, I mean, my kind of thoughts going into this from a Lions perspective is that I didn't really care which defensive end we took as long as we took one. I would have been happy with either of the guys that are available there, and I think a lot of people kind of are and would have been. I don't think there's too much between them. Obviously, there's some people who don't like Thibodeau for whatever reason, but I'm happy with either, and I'm very glad we didn't take the guy everyone thought we were going to take it to for some reason, and because he's still on the board, and I just think that screams a lot more about what the media thinks of the Lions and how much they pay attention to what we say and what we do than anything that people even had us taking Willis at 2.
I can see Sky Moore going next. I think Chiefs go receiver as well.
Yeah, I think they do as well.
The weird thing though, Alex, is that it's not just the Lions and Malik Willis. Like, there were so many quarterbacks mocked to various people, and the fact that Willis and Ridder and Corral and Howell are all still on the board now at like pick 50, whatever, I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Corral told reporters, isn't like an agent speak, he told reporters that he had enough conversations with GMs and owners to go to Vegas, and he's still not been taken. He could go tomorrow.
Well, so in the green room, theoretically, is still Willis, Dean.
He's there.
Corral.
Yeah, Willis is there.
Yeah, it's shocking. I mean, I wonder how long someone has been left in the green room. What's the record for someone who's been
Ooh, that's-
invited and gone, and how
They
low
don't
have
go
they-
back in the green room though, do they? Day two.
They are because the Bears guy was in the
Yeah,
green room.
Kyler Gordon was there. They can
Oh.
choose. I think they don't put a camera in their face in day 2, but they can choose to still turn up, and then obviously they get picked. Then they still do the walkout.
But I mean, I
Imagine
guess
how-
with Kyler
Everything-
Gordon, he should have had no right of thinking he was going any higher than he did, and he came out and he looked happy. So
Imagine how smug he was. Like, what's up, bitches? On the way out of the green room, like, suckers. I'd have rubbed it straight in their face.
Just gone. Oh, this is awkward.
what did you make, Alex,
No.
of the trade up then? You mentioned about us being aggressive, but were you happy, one, about the trade and the terms, and then 2, about the pick itself?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, and
hindsight-
take a shot. Did you mock it?
hindsight is amazing, but based off how this draft has gone, yes, because I think a lot of people
Called it. Got it.
Take
I
a
think a
shot
lot
and... Sorry,
I
Alex.
think-
No, that's not.
Yeah,
that's,
no
not in my,
problem.
that's not in my mock draft. I just called it before them pick.
I
I had them taking Kenneth Walker, but he's long gone.
Yeah, long gone. I just think how this draft's gone with all the wide receivers, which is obviously the long domino effect of Kurt going to the Jags, obviously. I just think that was the right move in hindsight, because you wouldn't have got any a guy with any of that ability at 32. And I think a lot of people were saying maybe a wide receiver falls to us at 32, and look what happened to Green Bay. That hasn't happened. And they've kind of had to just draft a guy in the second. But yeah, I'm very happy. He's wide receiver 1 on some people's boards. That's a dream pick for us. We needed wide receiver. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm just very happy we didn't draft a quarterback, and we're probably not going to draft a quarterback of any big note, because the one thing that bothered me would be this big debate. If Jared Goff had a bad game, it would be, why aren't we playing the new guy? And I just don't think we need that this year. I don't think we need that narrative surrounding the team. I just think we just have Jared Goff, have him play. If he sucks, and we let him go. If he's good, then that's a debate for next year. It's not a debate for this year. So
I'm going to get frustrated, I think, with the revisionist history that I think will happen with having seen Lewis Seen go 32 and Christian Watson go 34. A lot of fans been like, "Oh, we could have had both of those. They're two good players, etc."
yeah, but they're not.
Sorry, Anne. But I think our pick 46 is a perfect example that just because fans are mocking linebackers and safeties and wide receivers at these spots, which is understandable, doesn't mean the Lions are going to go and do it. It's not like we went and took Brisker, who was sitting there. It's not like we went and took whoever. We went and took Josh Pascal that no one was expecting. And that's not to say that he wouldn't have gone at 32 or 34 if we were still there. So, it's. I think we will probably look, or people will look back if those guys turn out nicely and say, "Oh, the Lions could have had those. That's how they should have played it. Means they didn't have a pick of 66, etc." But you never know who is actually going to get selected at those spots by your team, right? And I think Brad Holmes has already shown on both years so far, he'll just take whoever's top of his board, and positional value or need at position just doesn't factor in at this stage.
Yeah, I think there's a good mix. I mean, there's obviously there's 2 scales to that, and there's the scales of the Raiders in the last 4 drafts who just discount it completely. Obviously, you have to take in some of it, because people there's a reason that these people are paid a lot of money to do these mock drafts.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they only pick because of what they know. They don't know the internals. They don't know. They don't spend their millions of dollars just to scout these guys. So I think that I'm that pick. I trust them. I trust them to make that pick. If we now have the room has been completely switched over in a year, and that's what we want. We just want guys, and if they see something in them, then go for it.
And I mean, I guess. Yeah, sorry, Tom.
I was just going to say, I mean, it was a similar argument that we were having, because pretty much everyone in this room is a big Travis Jones fan. And we didn't really need defensive tackle, but you're like, he's a good player. He's a really good player. Would you be angry if we got him? No. Pascal, I think obviously most of us will have had lower than Jones, but it's the same argument, right? You build a strength, and that defensive line we are heavily investing in. And before kind of last season, there was all the talk about previously the Rams organization didn't invest in the linebacker position, right? And we're sat there, they seem happy with that room. At safety, they find guys late. They did actually pick guys early-ish along the way as well, but Brad Holmes was good at finding DBs on day 3. So they're clearly sticking to, or he's clearly sticking to what he feels is his skill set, even if it doesn't kind of appease fans.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone would begrudge that. Just I trust him to do these things, and yeah, the way that this draft has come out, and that pick to 12 especially, we've done really well considering the amount of talent that other teams have given up just to move behind us.
Yeah,
a wide receiver, like it's brilliant. We've kind of fleeced the Vikings. You can say that now, and then in about 2 years we say, oh, actually. But yeah, I think that this is. Last year we were gonna oh yeah, Brad Holmes, he kind of knows what he's doing, but this year we can just see him come into his element, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah,
I don't think we're the only team that have pulled the Vikings pants down in the last couple of days.
Cowboys sure love their guys with personnel issues, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I like that pick, but
I like him. He's really good.
I like the pick, but they love getting controversial guys.
Yeah, I mean,
guys, a lot of off-field issues.
I hate the pick for that reason. When at the Senior Bowl, didn't he get a call up halfway through the week or something? And he flashed. He looked so good, and I was there like, all right, this is going to be kind of one of my guys. He looks such a good player. And then you dig in, and it's just like, yeah, I'm just staying the hell away from all of that.
Yeah, it's a shame, but Cowboys take chances on players like that,
Yeah.
don't they? They just seems there's so many in there, and that Cardinals tight end room is not
Trevor
fair anymore.
McBride.
That is not fair having Ertz and McBride as your tight ends. That's one of the best tight end duos instantly in the league.
I mean, sure, but you look at what the Pats did last year with 2 tight ends, and they run the most 1 tight end sets in the league. If you've got Zach Ertz, and you've just traded for a wide receiver in this draft, and you've got one of the best wide receivers in the league, and you normally run 5 wide, when the fuck is he going to play?
Well, I think
McBride's a blocker,
Ertz is
though.
not long for the league, probably, right? As in, he's been playing how many years? Close to 10?
He's going to retire soon, I think.
I reckon he
He's
probably
31,
follows more the
yeah.
kind of. Is he only 31?
He's only
older,
31,
but
yeah.
obviously struggled with injuries along the way. I think he might get relegated more just from a snap portion, so he'll still stay on a roster, but I don't think he's going to be a guy that gets 50 snaps a game.
So, should Tampa consider... Tampa have just traded up. Should they be considering quarterback?
Tampa have traded up. Who have I got? I had
Well,
them
they
going
took Trask,
tight.
though, didn't they? Yeah.
I had them
Yeah,
going
but-
tight. I had them going McBride, but that's not a thing.
Surely-
Would have liked that.
So,
Surely no one's
That's-
buying Trask. So,
No, he's naff.
Ridder, Corral, Willis all make sense to me. Howe makes sense to me.
Well, Atlanta are
I
next.
don't-
Atlanta surely have to take a quarterback.
I
God.
don't.
Yeah.
I
Atlanta
feel
said it
w-
all week. So
Yeah. I feel Willis isn't the Tampa Bay style. I think Ridder for me
Pocket
shouts to
passer.
Tampa. Yeah, I don't think they need a dual threat guy down there. Plus, they're going to be learning off Brady, so you kind of want a guy who's
Sam
got
Howell.
similar traits. I mean, Howell could.
I think with Willis falling this far, and obviously the league therefore not being as high on him as the media were, similar with Ridder, I think the possibility of Howe being the next quarterback off the board has gone up a lot.
Yeah. Is Dan listening to us, Matt? I just want to say, like, after all the shit we gave him, like in the whole quarterback room thing, Malik Willis at 2 controversy. I just want to say I really like him, and I feel sorry that Malik Willis has slipped this far. I just feel bad.
Dan certainly was with us earlier on. He is still here, apparently.
Well, if you're listening, Dan, then we love Malik Willis, and he should not be falling this far. This is not an indictment of the support there for him, boys. Just I can't believe he's gone this far down. It's crazy. Right now, his value is like sky high, and I can't believe no one, even someone who's got like a solid starter in there, should now be thinking, hang on, I can bring him in and really give my lead some competition. I mean, if we get past the Bucks, the Falcons, and all that now, and a quarterback still doesn't go, then they're going to day 3.
Yeah.
No.
Someone will.
I believe
There's
like
a
no one's
long
taken a chance
time.
on Ridder. I mean, like Ridder is kind of pretty much ready to go.
I mean, this is the
Ooh.
point you would start considering Carson Strong. Or you would have if the draft would have played out how it should have done. Could
Yeah,
Strong surprise us all and be... Because he's a project. So if Tampa would take Carson Strong, he's got to sit a year anyhow because of his knee. And that sounds like...
Oh, I've just seen the pick. I don't want to see it, but I have.
I've seen it.
Oh, no. I projected them a defensive tackle earlier. Oh, shit.
It's just bizarre because someone's told them. That's the thing. I said about it, someone told Matt Corral. Someone's told Willis.
Goldecker's gone before Raymond.
Yeah, someone's told these guys that they're interested.
Oh wow!
But have they just found the consensus that no one wants them, so they're just waiting and waiting and waiting.
It looks like it, yeah. And the further they fall, the further they're gonna fall. It's one.
I think there's a run. I think there's a run. As soon as one goes, everyone will go, hang on. Now we actually have to make our move. But
I do find it funny that the few times that I've listened to or talked to people talk about the Central Michigan tackles, the number of people said, I tuned in to watch Bernard Raymond, and I saw this tackle, and I thought, oh, that guy's really good. And then I found out I was watching the wrong tackle, and that it's Luke Gadecki I was actually watching. Made me think that there was a chance that this would happen. But,
Falcons
I would have given you 5%.
Yeah, they've ran it in.
Falcons. Who could it be? Who could it be if it's not quarterback?
For 30 quid, please give me Willis here. It's only 30 quid, but I'd like
Got to be a quarterback.
They've literally spent the entire week telling the press that they're going to draft a quarterback. They didn't say where.
I had a 5th round grade on Godecker. I wanted him in the 5th at one point. That's where he is. Bernard Raymond was an on the edge of the 1st round pick. In no galaxy should he be in front of. Oh, Jesus.
It's a complete disrespect to the entirety of Europe, I will say.
This draft is drunk. They're both converted tight ends into tackles, so whether they're going to use
hammer, you got to take him.
Well, as I say, they're both converted tight ends into tackles, so you use them as a 6th lineman for now. But I really like Godecker as well. But wow,
given how this draft has gone over the last 20 picks, are we approaching Bam Olaseni? I mean, we've got to be there soon, right?
So
can't rule it out.
Oh,
when's New England next on the clock, Tom?
They're not.
Well, I don't want him having to deal with Bill.
Oh, selections here.
Are we in Bam territory now?
Alex, I just want to kind of give the opportunity for you to speak as much as possible because we're going to have the Dallas Cowboys UK guys coming on in a few minutes' time. So. Thoughts on Lions or draft or anything you want, but the floor is yours.
The floor is mine. I was just waiting for that.
Ryan, do you want to joint hate on them with me now?
The Falcons don't need hate. They just need... You just laugh at them.
Fuck the Falcons.
The Falcons are bastards. Last year they stole Richie Grant. Now they've stole Troy Anderson.
Yeah,
that's it.
My general thoughts on the Lions this year is hope, and I think this draft has kind of reinforced that. Like I was kind of scared for a bit when it was like, oh, maybe they take a quarterback, maybe they do this, but I trust the back office. I trust them for the first time in a number of years. I trust them. I know there's a plan, there's a focus, and I've never seen that from a Detroit Lions back office before. So even if they take these guys the later rounds, like we saw Amon-Ra St. Brown in the later rounds, he's a stud, and I trust them to find these guys. And before, you wouldn't have heard of them. They would have been cut or just some guy, but I just trust them for once, and I'm very happy I can say that for once.
Yeah.
This is an indication that Nakobe Dean is skidding, and he's going far down, I think.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that he's slipping. But Muma is still on the board too. But yeah,
Sure.
Alex,
Wow.
I'm right with you. The hopium is right there because the front office are giving every indication that they are deserving of hope.
Yeah, and they're saying they're just giving us hope, and they're saying all the right things, and they're showing all the right things. And I don't think we're just going to magically turn it around and be good this year. But there's steps, and there's a process, and there's ideas. And if we just keep going off that, and we keep the guys, the coaches, we keep them, because I think that's a big part of this rebuild as well. I think sky's the limit with these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Dream pick at 97, Alex, for you at the moment, if you stay there.
Oh God, my depth is not as far as 97, but
I mean,
yeah,
you could pick a lot of people who are around the sort of area now, I think, because they could slip that fast. So
yeah, I mean, I'll give you more of position. I think I'd like to see a linebacker. I don't really care who really. I just think just a guy we can have in the room at 97. I just think that we still need some guys in that area, but maybe we take the San Diego State punter. He's the guy. He's the guy I care about the most, to be honest, at this point. And not for the Lions. I don't think we need a punter, obviously, but I really want someone to draft him really high. That's all I want from this draft now. Is I want someone to really
draft him to be your kicker punter. Just play one of them.
We could play 2 punter sets. It'd be perfect. Like, who's going to kick it? You don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. I think that the Cowboys are going to be coming shortly out. So
no problem. Enjoy the rest of the draft, boys.
Coming on. And,
Cheers,
Cheers.
Cheers, Alex.
Cheers, Alex.
Really?
Really?
Vikings?
That's a reach. That's a massive reach. No guards were meant to go till at least round 3 now. Cade Mays, Ed Ingram. You've got guys there, and
Abraham Lucas is still there, who can play guard and tackle.
Chris Paul,
the Georgia guy as well, who's really a guard. So,
Jamari Sawyer.
Yeah.
None of these were meant to go till well into round 3. That's the level they're at. The Vikings have reached here, but that's what's happened. They lost out on the good guys earlier by constantly trading down. Now they're having to reach for guys from the top.
The trade down thing. Obviously, I've forgotten their GM's name, but good up and coming guy.
He's an analytics guy.
Exactly, pure analytics. And I was like, okay, he's picking up lottery tickets effectively, and I was like, I can get behind that to a point. But then they go and move up for a guy because they went from 53 to 42 or whatever it was. I'm like, well, then you're kind of just going against that principle. So I just, from the outside, really struggle. If I was a Vikings fan, I would really struggle to see what the plan is here.
Irish Incarnate says Mensa is his name, apparently.
Yeah, it's double barreled, isn't it? It's someone Mensa, but is it
Kwesi Mensa?
Yeah.
I don't want to butcher it.
Owuzu?
No.
I just call him Kwesi.
Buffalo's traded to the Bengals.
Ryan, the Atlanta Falcons UK want a scouting report off you for Troy Anderson. I've said that they've upset me and you now, so we're not impressed with them.
Tell them to stick it up their ass. Sorry, no. Go watch your own film.
Stick your scouting report up your ass.
I knew he wouldn't be there at 66. Even though we're not there now anyway, but I knew he wouldn't get there.
Oh, dear.
I do want to say, Ryan, you inspired me. So I saw you drinking what I'm assuming is Guinness or something similar, and I was like...
John Smith.
Is it John Smith? God, are you kidding me? It looks black.
He's in Yorkshire.
Yeah,
well, it's because of the headboard.
I was going to say there's a lot of darkness on that in that camera. So, but either way, you inspired me to go pick a stout. So, yeah, obviously got it wildly wrong.
I haven't had a smooth flow for ages, whether it's Boddington's or Worthington or
Guinness. I really need to go to Tesco because they've got the brand new cold brew coffee Guinness.
The Guinness one, yeah. I haven't tried it.
It sounds
well with
amazing.
you. Like people say it's decent.
I love cold brew.
Yeah.
I can just inject black coffee into my veins, iced coffee.
Oh yeah.
I could just live off it.
Ship you off to Love Island, you'd fit right in.
So
Sorry,
Just-
I'm very
still-
lowbrow. So.
I still can't make any. Look at this. Players who've been selected: Ed Ingram, Luke Godecker, Cameron Jurgens. This is
See,
like
no
is this
quarterbacks
round
in
three in
two.
disguise?
Yeah, I mean, there could be no quarterbacks at all drafted in round 2, which would be like just
I don't even know who's
unbelievable.
gone now.
One
Bengals
in
are
the
on.
top 64 would be unprecedented. I don't think there would be a draft with that in history.
Right. What do the Bengals need? Bengals need it. Well, if centers are going early, Donovan West could be in play now. I mean, who did I haven't taken? I'd have taken Tariq Woolen actually. That
I was
could
going to
happen.
say, I think corner now, you're
Yeah.
approaching those upside guys like a
Cam
McCollum
what's his
or a
face?
Woolen.
Taylor Britt.
Taylor Britt, yeah.
Zion
and then,
McCollum.
Who are we? Him.
I do.
Yeah.
Is he the cornerback safety?
He's another like 6'3" good athlete guy who's down
Yeah,
at the
he's
Senior Bowl.
big.
He
I think
flashed in one-on-one. He was a guy I actually wanted at 97. I was like, I'd probably take Kobe Bryant over him, but a lot of upside.
Bell been the top HBCU guy this year, and he's like.
Don't know if he has any experience on gun or anything like that. Obviously, crazy athlete, but yeah, I mean, just there, I just can't understand it, to be honest. But then I'm not paid to do this, so what do I know?
I can't deal with another offensive pick or another trench pick. I'm done with it now. Anything else.
Bengals have played it safe. I'm looking at the pick. I can get behind that.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, I got caught. I got the position, but the wrong player.
There we go.
I had Tariq Woolen. Well, at least I don't have to have a shot. I got through just 2. That's not bad. That's not a bad result.
You're not playing
Unless-
the game of drinking very well, Ant, I have to say. 'cause
Unless the
there's that-
Broncos take Enegbari next. If the Broncos take Enegbari next, then I have to drink. I'll guess the third round as I go, and if I do it, then.
Oh,
So, slight side note, my biggest takeaway from this entire round is actually nothing to do with the players selected. Did any of you watch Blue Mountain State?
Yeah, loved it.
I had no idea that the head coach in that was actually an ex-Vikings running back. I assumed it was just a regular actor. And there he is announcing picks in the draft.
Oh,
The guy who was talking to
didn't
the
even click.
Vikings for ages, he is the actor that plays Marcy Daniels, head coach of Blue Mountain State. And he went on a like 2-3 minute rant to the point someone had to run on and tell him, yeah, you're going to have to do the pick now. They were literally like pointing at the card.
call the pick. Do it. Call the pick. Gun to the head. Do it. Get on with it.
Wait, hang on. When were the 49ers here? Oh, I'm way ahead of myself.
Pick is in, but
It's because everyone's traded. So San Francisco, I had receiver, but they want a safety. So who's left at safety? Is anyone left at
JT
safety?
Woods, Kirby Joseph.
I think they'll go receiver then. Who's left at receiver? I got to.
Wait, is this Nakobe D? No. Oh, it's what?
That's.
It's Brees Hall, but he wasn't in the green room.
Oh, he must have just joined them. Who's left? Dave. In fact, this could be David Bell.
What, to San Francisco?
Yeah. I think they need a receive. They need a receiving option. They need
Well,
a
if
safety,
they get
but
rid
I
of-
don't think. I
They
don't
only
think
need a
the
wide
safe-
receiver if they trade Debo.
Yeah, but they've not got much depth behind him. They still need a receiver.
There's no one to trade Debo to now, I don't think.
No,
Jets
probably
said
not.
no.
God.
That's
So
not happening.
who's left of the big receivers? So Calvin Austin's still there. David Bell's still there. Jalen Tolbert's still there. Justin Ross. And then you're down to like Daubs, Shakir, Austin Jr. territory. What else do the 49ers want? God,
Mel Kiper said guard, center, and a defensive tackle. Travis Jones.
Could be
Oh,
Travis
no.
Jones. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's in fact talk about the fact that we've got our next guest in
no.
the building.
All right,
We've got our
go
next
on then.
guest in the building, Mike Poland from UK Cowboys Fans. How you doing, man?
Hey, how we doing? You all right?
All good here. Sorry for
Well,
the
thanks.
kind of coming on, don't come on. We're tired. We'll do it tomorrow. Sorry about that.
I know. Oh, no, it's my fault too. I mean, it's just, I guess, this time of year, you're running off caffeine, sugar, hopes, and dreams. So it's all going on at once.
Yeah, with the Lions, it's a lot more hopes and dreams than anything else in terms of that. How have you found the draft so far? So you've picked it 24 and 56 so far, and you've ended up taking Tyler Smith from Tulsa and then Sam Williams from Mississippi. Is that what you're hoping for?
Yeah, I mean, some people, a lot of the Cowboys fans are saying they find the pick confusing, the first pick. But for me, like we was trying to talk through with it, is first of all, they've taken really what I would consider the best run blocking offensive lineman in the draft. That's the first thing. And they are going to put him into the slot position. So we had Will McClay on with us earlier on today talking about the pick. And it is something that they're going to do. They're moving into the guard position. And statistically, when Zeke was trying to run into the left guard position, he was averaging 0.71 yards per carry, which was the lowest along that line. So they've gone for a run blocking offensive lineman to fill that gap to try and help with Zeke. And also, they're reacting as well a lot to what was happening earlier in the draft with the other NFC East teams, taking, players with the likes of, Jordan Davis, and you're seeing some quite a heavy defensive line draft from the NFC East. So it makes sense with what they're doing. Sam Williams, on the other hand, I get it. I mean, I understand. And Sam Williams is somebody that they did a lot of due diligence on. And Dan Quinn had a private workout with him and really, really worked him out quite heavily. So it's another pick where you think, okay, they've left some value on the board, but they've gone for their guys. They've gone for the guys that they've wanted. So it seems to be more that they've gone for their guys as opposed to value picks on the board.
So just San Francisco picking Drake Jackson there, him finally coming on.
I don't understand that.
Why?
Allies, he just signed his tender. Like I said, they've got Fred Warner. That can't be a pressing need, surely. They've got a great pair of linebacker duo.
Isn't Jackson more of like
he's an edge guy, though. I don't know
an
what he's weighing right now, but he's more of like a...
He's 254, so he's light.
He's never going to play a linebacker, is he?
He's a 3-4 rusher in general. But
Tell me it's not Travis.
No, you're good. It's Drake Jackson.
You're good. Mike, looking at the Cowboys for the rest of this draft, you've got another pick in this third round coming up at 88, and you've actually got quite a few picks in good positions all the way down. No seventh rounders, but you've got 7 more picks to go. So what are your hopes and dreams, as you put it, for the rest of this draft?
I mean, we've just got a couple of guys on from Cowboys Media over on our podcast, and they're saying that a lot of the talk right now is with Kellen Moore. So it's going to be an offensive pick. So for me, this is looking like the next pick is either going to be tight end or wide receiver, but it's certainly going to be a pass catcher, somebody to score points. Beyond that, I think the 4th round, perhaps a running back, because I do think that the talk of way things are going, both Tony Pollard and Zeke may not be with the Cowboys next year. So they need to do something to fill whatever that void is. And now's a chance for whichever running back that they get to learn off both players. And then really from that, you know what it's like when you get to round 5, you're just trying to find traits or athletic ability really to try and fill needs.
I'm quite high on Pollard. If you could only keep one, would you get rid of Pollard or Zeke?
Yeah, that's cheeky. I mean, like, the thing is Pollard is he reminds it, like, a lot of people talk about trying to find that Deebo Samuel that the 49ers have had with that success of playing both out wide and coming in behind and then doing some jet sweeps and screen passes. And the Cowboys have that with Tony Pollard. They just, for whatever reason, haven't baked that into their playbook. For whatever reason. whether that's just perhaps Kellen's scheme, which is what he's trying to do, or whether it's Mike McCarthy pushing back on that, not too sure. But I suppose when you look at both cap costs and what Tony Pollard provides for you, Tony provides more, and he can play on special teams as well. So, as they say, what more can you do, or the more you can do. And there is that. But Zeke he's just, you do see it. You see it a lot, that when Zeke is on the field, and you can hear it in the collisions as well, it's different when Zeke is on the field to Tony Pollard. You do feel it, and you can feel it on the defense, especially when you're there watching the game live. You feel that difference when Zeke's on the field.
You mentioned Mike McCarthy, and he's a really interesting one because at the end of his first season, coming into this most recent year, he was on a lot of lists of on the hot seat, needs a good year, could be the first guy fired, which maybe would have been a bit of a surprise given how long he's been there. But I think after how things ended at Green Bay, people were kind of maybe doubting his talents. And then coming into this year, losing week 1, but then going on a mazy 6-win streak, beating the Chargers and Philadelphia and New England, Minnesota, and then couple of losses in the middle, but then backing it up with lots of wins, in division, big wins, statement wins, coming up 12-5. How did he feel the season went overall for you guys?
If you want to say overall, it was deflating because of the way they lost in the playoffs. The season, I mean, I'll say trying to get back-to-back wins in the NFL, let alone a 3-game win or a 4-game win in the NFL, is hard enough as it is. So, like, they were met with injury problems in the middle of the season, and they seemed to overcome it. But what was ironic is it seemed to be when the Cowboys got healthy towards the end of the season, getting into the playoffs, is when they started to struggle then. It seemed to be the reverse of how everybody else operates. So it is an odd one that it was like, overall, like everybody was happy with the regular season, but I think the postseason, and what makes it worse is that really now you're looking at the Cowboys roster and you're like, that was a stacked roster they had last year, and it's going to take a long time for them to get back to that. I don't think that it doesn't mean they won't make the playoffs. I don't think they'll be the number 1 NFC East team, but they need to not rebuild, but sort of do like a very heavy reload on that roster to start bringing it back up again.
Yeah, I mean, so you lost your right tackle, Lyle Collins, to Cincinnati, and of course the Amari Cooper trade as well.
Yeah.
I mean, big takeaways from Coop. I mean, obviously he came in with a big trade and then produced, but was just on a big contract that maybe you couldn't sustain. But he produced early on and then it tailed off quite quickly.
Yeah, it was more down to targets. And it seemed to be that, and it's strange because on the one hand, you say he's worth a lot of money, but then you have all of a sudden Christian Kirk go on a contract that was worth, that's paying more than what Amari is. So you're saying that, well, there's values there. All right, you can say how much of a chunk that is with the cap, with everything else that they've got lined up with Dak's contract, Zeke's contract, Tank's contract. So you get it in that sense. But, you think, do you really need to get rid of good players as it stands now? And what makes it worse is Michael Gallup's injured with an ACL. So week 1, as it stands at the moment, the starting 3 wide receivers for the Cowboys is CeeDee Lamb, who's going to be playing the slot. You got Simi Fehoko on the outside and James Washington, and that's it.
It's not the best.
No.
I'm a big James Washington fan, actually. I think he was criminally underused at Pittsburgh.
Agree.
I thought whenever he played, I thought, that looks like a really good receiver. But if you're relying on him to be a starting wide receiver, James...
James cold running
Cook.
back.
I like that.
The running back.
The Bills just got better.
What is happening with this?
I don't think that's that much of a reach, right? I mean, they wanted running back. We thought it might happen in the first. And after those top 2 guys go, everyone's all over the board. If you want a guy who's electric in the passing game, you go for someone like James Cook. If you want someone who's a bit more kind of solid in pass pro and is going to run people over, you maybe go Damian Pierce or people like that, or Tyler Algier. So I think
He only had 250 passing yards last year. And
Yeah,
most
but
of them were against Michigan.
But a lot of people, especially coming out, was he at the Senior Bowl? I can't remember. Or did he bail on the Senior Bowl?
You what? Sorry.
Was he at the Senior Bowl or did he bail at the Senior Bowl? I feel like, did he pull out late?
I think he pulled out.
Yeah.
But I think he was carrying a knock.
But yeah, there was a lot of chat going into that he was a guy who was a third rounder who could work his way up into the second, and then he kind of fell off the face of the earth because he didn't really, like I say, he didn't turn up then, and wasn't that relevant for the draft season.
Yeah, I'd have only had Isaiah Spiller above him probably, and then like you say, everyone else is fair game.
He's basically a wide receiver though, right? As in, I know he is a running.
You guys got any questions for our Dallas our Dallas guest here?
We're just saying they have a propensity to go for guys who have personality issue. I mean, obviously they've gone with Sam Williams. And again, he's in that mold. What is it? What is it about the Cowboys that just these players seem to be attractive to them? I know he could be a great player on his day, Sam Williams. Don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
There's so many players on that team who have the same sort of traits where there's a lot they need to work out off field.
It's always the second round. That's what it is. If you look at the second round, so last year they take a cornerback who's got into issues with a handgun incident outside a nightclub. You're talking Randy Gregory, who had background issues. Jalen Smith, who had the nasty leg break at the Senior Bowl, I believe it was. Yeah, I believe it was the Senior Bowl. So they just like taking risks with the second round pick. What didn't surprise me really that they took a guy with a risky background. You don't have to delve too deep into what happened with Sam Williams, Ole Miss, but I mean, you would think that they've checked on that. They've gone through the background checks because they did dive deep into him, particularly Dan Quinn. So you'd think that they've looked into it, but it's the very typical Cowboys thing in the second round that they just love taking risks on, which is a bit annoying, really, because you just think, and like they strike well on their first round picks, especially offensive linemen, which is what I think you have to give them the respect for, or not the respect, but you have to give them give them that bit of leeway in the pick of the first round, because Travis Frederick, everyone booed that pick, and then he becomes a multi-Pro Bowler. It's the second round picks that they always seem to fiddle around with and mess around. And, even Tristan Hill, who's still on the team now, is a second round pick. And you wonder if he'll make the roster this year. It just seems to be their philosophy, really. I don't know why.
I mean, you're speaking to a fan base who knows a lot about very painful second round picks. So we, in different ways, we can at least relate over that. So.
Yeah. It could be anything with them, when it comes to the second round, whether it's medical issues, off the field issues, red flags. That seems to be the place that they do it. And then they try and claw everything back in the sixth round.
I think it helps when you've got, they're the only team in the league where your owner is making the picks. I know that, he's not, but he's actively involved, right? And therefore, his job is on the line, right? Yeah. So he can afford to take swings on guys, miss completely, and it doesn't matter because it's him and the family who are still going to be in that position. So
yeah, he's not going to fire himself or his son. So they're the main two, and Will McClay as well, who's like that intermediary between it all, because he really Will is kind of like not entitled, more like a GM at the Cowboys, but at the end of the day, there's no risk and all the reward for a guy like Jerry, because he, like you say, he can do what he wants, and he does have the final say. So it can get frustrating in that respect, because he's not beholden, because he makes a mistake. It's it was everybody else, not me.
Just want to send out thanks to David Rhinefoot69 giving another gifted sub in the Twitch chat to Dark Blue Gold, our Patriots fan who came on yesterday. Thank you very much, my guy. Apparently there's been some audio issues on Twitch, so apologies for that. If you do want to move over to YouTube, then that's cool. And thanks to everyone who's raided us over the past like 20 minutes on YouTube. It's just a load of comments saying raid, micro Mike raid for about 10 minutes, and then why aren't you checking the chat? And it's like,
For a wide receiver, I've got next. Could this be a?
Well,
could it be Cade Otton?
I've
Or
got
Rocket, maybe?
I've got their pick. I'm looking at it now. Okay.
oh, good pick. I like that
Ooh,
pick.
They've gone linebacker. Yeah, that's a decent pick.
But
This is
linebacker
gonna-
slash corner that plays loads of snaps at cornerback.
It's going to add to what will become a very tired narrative quickly about someone taking a linebacker at the Lions pick at 66. So the 3 Lions picks have been safety Lewis Dean, wide receiver Christian Watson, linebacker Brian Asamoah. So we will no doubt see that narrative.
Yeah, it's super weird being raided. By the way,
Why
just saying.
is Mike raiding us? Mike gets hundreds of people on his channel. Generally, you raid people who are like as big as you.
No.
Sorry, what is raiding? Like,
So in the
It's
streaming
where
community,
you tell your followers to go and raid another guy's page and just spam loads of comments.
but also raiding is meant to be where bigger streamers who like a smaller streamer move their followers on the end of their stream to a different
Okay.
stream to support what they're doing. So
nice. All right.
Pride of Detroit tried to do that with us before when they ended a stream before us, and I turned
Yeah.
it off, and I didn't mean to in the settings. And Chris Babette was like, "We can't raid
I've
you."
got the Giants pick.
I'm about to get there. I don't even know anymore.
What?
What?
Yeah, I thought that.
Oh
I don't know.
my god!
A mystery guard.
Jesus Christ!
I have
What the hell is-
no idea who that is, I'll be honest.
Is he even in my? I don't even think he's on my list of guards.
126 he was on my big board.
Okay,
so
fine.
He should be there, Anne.
Logan Bruce.
Joshua Azudu.
Joshua
I'll be honest, like
No,
O-line I
he's
didn't
not on my
prioritize.
list.
I didn't prioritize this year, and that's the point where we didn't have any picks, so he won't even come up in any like mocks or anything I did, but I've never even heard of the guy, to be honest. So
I've got Logan Bruce, Marquise Hayes, Leicester Smith, Cade Mays, Chris Paul, Andrew Stoiber, Justin Schaefer.
yeah, I've got those guys,
Nicholas,
but
Ben Brown, Jalen Thomas. He's not even like on my list of
Browns pick is in.
God. Or is he on the center list? He's not even on the. Oh, geez. Right. Okay. I don't even know anymore. Who's picking next?
Giant.
Cleveland.
No, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
Cleveland.
Browns picks in.
Ooh.
Right. So what have we got for the Browns? Defensive tackle, edge, wide receiver, safety. Don't even know where they've gone now. Don't even know who's left.
James has just said, James, the Pats fan in the Twitch chat has just said, raiding sounds suspiciously like something the Vikings would do, and also, have the Pats lost their reach-around crown with that Giants pick? And the answer is, no, you haven't.
Oh,
The Pats have won that for this year.
You say it's the Browns on the clock now.
I think so.
Yeah, it's the Browns.
This could
Picks
be
in.
Travis Jones.
Browns.
They need a defensive tackle.
I mean, the fact that Joshua Azudu is going before Travis Jones is frankly a disgrace, and Nakobe Dean for that matter. But let's assume Nakobe Dean, there's maybe some injury things at play or something. But
So there was definitely some injury things with Nakobe Dean. Ash actually posted it.
okay,
He's had about 5 different injuries on different parts of his body.
he
and
has
they
been
say
banged
he's
up
gotta
as a
have-
little guy.
And he's got to have. They said he's got to have pec surgery after his rookie season. So he'll play this year, then he'll have pec surgery. So it's a lot of injuries.
Just have it now. Just have the surgery now and miss your rookie year. I don't agree with playing a year.
If you're interested, I'm just whacking it in the chat now. But someone sent us a video of Josh Pascal doing a dentist ad.
David,
Doing a what?
Doing an ad for a dentist. It's quite.
Oh
funny.
yeah, I've seen it, but I haven't watched it yet.
I've just put it in the Discord links now. so you
Scene
can
went
go
to
and- you can
32.
watch it.
Sorry. David Reinford has just said that the Cleveland Browns pick is in, and apparently it's a lawyer for Deshaun Watson. I like it.
So I think, yeah, I've got their big need as defensive tackle, and I don't think they've taken one yet. And I don't know who's left at defensive tackle. Who's still here?
The Browns frustrate me so much.
DeMarvin Leal's still there. Is DeMarvin Leal gone?
No, he's still there.
So DeMarvin Leal's there. Perry and
I don't
like
him. He had a terrible year, Leo.
So we got
He
DeMarvin
worked
Leal.
out like crap.
Yeah. Then we got Perry and Winfrey, Travis Jones. I take Zachary Carter. They've got their pick of defensive tackle if they want one.
Suddenly, defensive tackle looks very deep when no one gets taken.
Well, they've got a lot of mid. There's a lot of mid guys. We're getting into that range now, and plus the top guys have fallen, so that then just sort of fills the pool up a bit when your later round guys start coming into.
There's 3 DTs in the top 10 now for me. 3. Travis Jones is the 3rd guy. Perry and Winfrey 8. Leal 10.
I think the only guys left in kind of my personal top 50 now are Jones, Muma, and Ruckert. So
yeah, there's not been a big move on linebackers, has there really?
Leo Chanel just skidding.
Christian Harris,
Channing Tyndall. They're all still there.
The linebackers and the quarterbacks have been forgotten about. I mean,
Amari
Troy
Barlow
Anderson.
is still there.
Troy Anderson's gone before the lot of them.
Yeah.
Cam Thomas is still there.
Cameron Thomas. I tell you, oh no, I don't want edge players. Screw it. That Josh Pascal pick has screwed everything up.
Which wide? Sorry. I just had the Brad Holmes woo alert go off because Bigger Ez has subscribed at tier 1 for a 4th straight month. Thank you so much, my guy. I love that.
Thank you, Big Ares.
Thank you.
Having actually put those alert boxes on and then having the alert go off and jumping out of my fucking seat.
Right, come on, Browns. Come on, Browns.
Just go.
Clever.
Like,
oh, it's the Miz. Boo! Screw you, Miz.
Who did you think they were going to take?
Defensive tackle. So you've got Winfrey, you've got Travis Jones, you've got DeMarvin Leal, you've got Zachary Carter.
Where a lot of the talent is right now.
They've gone in a totally different direction. Oh, I don't like this pick.
Shut up, Miz.
Oh!
What? Oh my God, this round's even drunker than the last one. Martin Emerson.
Not even the best corner on his own team. That's Emmanuel Forbes, but he didn't come out till next year.
Tariq Woolen's there. There's still corners there to be had.
The number 136 player on my board.
Oh my God.
That's the lowest guy picked so far for me, apart from Tyquan Thornton.
Oh, what? And the Patriot? Sorry, what's his face? Tyquan Thornton and there's the other guy from like
Cole Strange
who's down there. Cole Strange is down there, but
Cole Strange was in the 90s.
Luke Godecker, sorry.
Godecker was in the hundreds.
Titans pick is in.
This day is going as quick as day 3 normally goes. It's kind of odd, but the picks are coming in thick and fast, and they're only going slow because of adverts.
Yeah, they're kind of holding them back. On that note, I'm probably going to drop in the relative near future. But they're trying to crack through it, but then they keep having these weird little moments where they just don't show a pick for like 10 minutes.
It is weird. I'm not a fan.
I'm getting a knot in my stomach. I'm not looking forward to the next Lions pick. I don't know why. Just
could Titans go quarterback?
Yeah,
Ryan
Titans could
Tannehill?
go quarterback. No, you
The
didn't miss
Titans.
anything.
I'd like Ridder for the Titans.
that is an interesting one. The Titans.
Heyo. Or could it be Carson Strong?
Oh, okay.
They've gone tackle.
But
That's about right.
That makes more sense than what's been happening.
He was the second tackle. He was the second tackle left on Mel Kiper's board.
So
You've still got Parnham,
Bernard Raymond, Darian Kinnard, Daniel Falele, Abraham Lucas.
Dylan Parnham.
I mean, he was a guy that was getting kind of first round buzz really early in the season or preseason as well, and then he didn't have a great year. Got worked over by Hutch and the Michigan boys, right? So I don't think it's a million miles away from where he was expected to go. I don't know about the consensus board, but
he was 76.
Okay, so
Jack's pick is in. Yeah, they're coming in quick now.
His last name's little brother, isn't it, in French? Petit frère.
Yeah.
So we're at that was pick 69. There are currently 18 players at 69 or lower on my consensus board right now. 18.
Jags. What have we got left for Jags? They've tackle.
Really
this could be Raymond
this
again.
camera angle,
It's
don't they?
Raymond again. Or a tackle. Abram Lucas, Bernard Raymond. They
I mean, going on one of those kind of upside guys, I don't think it's a bad shout.
No, well, I mean,
Raymond would be a really nice fit here, right?
But I guess they really like Walker.
I've seen it.
So
We've got something. I think this is going to be my last one. Let's go out in style.
This one's miffed me a little as well.
Kellen Dallas. They've already got Devin Lloyd.
That is disrespectful.
That is
Going inside
downright
and now
rude.
getting outside. Yeah.
Don't like it. Don't like it. Leo Chanel at 97. That's what I want right now.
Do you know if the Jags play? What's their system?
They were a 4-3.
Fine. So you're basically then going to play Moomer as a Will, and play Devin Lloyd as your Mike, I guess. I don't know what they've got in that room, but fair enough. Lions fans will be angry, no doubt.
Just having a look at the depth chart now for the Jags. I'm sure the only reason I say it is because I'm sure Josh Allen is a 4-3 DE. But actually, no,
the Jags
they
just
say
give
base
loads of
3-4.
money to Oladipo from the Falcons? They didn't they? They just give that stupid contract to that Falcons linebacker. Oladipo.
Yeah, so I was wrong. 3-4. So Clavion Chason's in there. Devin Lloyd, Olakun, Darius.
How are these guys all going to get reps?
Chason is a bust. What a dreadful pick he turned out to be.
Fair enough. I mean, they're going in a very different route to the Lions, right? They're basically saying our two inside guys are going to be Moomer and Lloyd. We're going to take them now, and then hopefully they play for the next 5-10 years together.
Bears now.
And
all right, I'll watch the Bears and then I'll go.
Drew's asking again to come in. Do you want to?
Have we got any more guests?
We've only got the one that you arranged for 3:45. Frampage.
Oh, am I getting my time?
Oh, got ages and a full hour.
I thought we said 10:45 for him.
10:45 Eastern time is 3:45.
That's now.
Am I?
No, 3:45, not 2:45.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm losing track of time.
Bears pick is in.
Bears. Right. So who's left at receiver? Oh God, no, not David Bell. Don't let them have David Bell.
They can take him as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you'll not be saying that when he's running routes on us next year when we've got no fucking linebackers in there to cover him.
Well, what about Jalen Tolbert here?
Oh, I'd hate that. I like Jalen Tolbert. But, you know, we're out the running for a receiver now, so I can like receivers all I want, but Twitter. You'll love Drew, Matt. He's an analytics guy like you are. You two will be best buddies, and you'll gang up on me and make me feel bad.
I'm not really an analytics guy. I just think it's informative rather than it's my opinion.
Bears pick is in the selection.
Please not David Bell. Please not David Bell. Please not David Bell.
I haven't got anyone walking out on stage yet.
I hope they reach for a guard now. Let's let them have Cabe Mays or something like that.
Bernard Ryman, I fancy here.
Oh, I'm looking at the pick. I kind of like it.
What? Because it's terrible.
No. I think it's kind of good.
Oh, reach.
No.
Massive.
Oh, you
Interesting.
don't like Velus Jones, do you? So that is a direct replacement for Corradell Patterson, who they never replaced.
Sure, but the guy's 140 on the consensus board, picking 71.
I don't care. He's a very good blocker. He's an excellent returner, and he's a good receiver. He helps you in every facet of the game you need, and people disrespect him far too much.
I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm saying that why wouldn't you take David Bell there? Why wouldn't you take Khalil Shakir there? Why couldn't you wait and pick him up in the next round or the round afterwards?
I think what we've seen today is if you like a guy, you've got to go get him, because who knows who's going to go otherwise. I think the main question with him is he's going to turn like 35 before his rookie season, and he doesn't really know how to play the position. So that's like, wasn't he in college in 2015 or something? He's been there
Seahawks
forever.
pick is already in. Seahawks
Right, so
got
could this
quarterback.
finally be a quarterback?
That pick went in very quickly.
Oy vey, what a day.
All right. Yeah. On that, I am going to drop, but it's been a delight as always. And
Good
I will catch
God,
up
we're
with you
still
on in the
so
morning.
far away.
Yeah,
If
you're
we
gonna be on in
draft
the morning.
Bam, if we draft Bam at 97, he'll soon be back.
Oh, you better believe it. I've got an alarm which goes
He'll
off
be-
when he gets drafted.
Are you on in the morning, Tom?
Potentially.
Cool.
It depends on, I might need to leave, basically, and leave the house earlier. So, but if not, I will speak to you boys in the morning.
Cool. All right. See you soon.
See ya.
Cheers, Tom.
Yeah, that's it.
This is just, I can't even accurately begin to predict guesses now, because the guys on my board are just like, oh yeah, we don't want those. We want guys who are in the 130s, the 140s, the 150s. That's who we want. Who's on
We're
the board
25
now?
picks away. What time? Are we going to be picking at like 5? Is it going to be a 5 when we're picking?
No, it's going quick. I mean, to be honest, the trades have just completely and utterly died. I just can't believe that there's so little interest. I mean, I know
You
people say
guys
the
said-
quarterback class isn't good. I know that, but there reaches a point. I mean, think this time last year, Kellen Mond got selected. All of these are better than Kellen Mond. You know, Kyle Trask went before this last year. All these are better than Kyle Trask. So
You guys said pre-draft, both of you, I think, that Malik Willis was a third-round pick. Here we are. Third round. And if he's the number one quarterback by most people's reckoning, well, apart from Pickett at 20, they're all third-round picks right now. So you had it on the money pre-draft.
I said they could slide if people didn't go early, but I kind of expected that teams might, because I said if you get to Pittsburgh and only one's gone by that point, they'll slide, and some teams will maybe either try and trade up or they'll let it slide and hedge their bets. Well, are these teams just getting greedy now and going, you know what, screw it, no one's taking them. I want to get them as low as I physically can. I think when the first one goes, if Malik Willis goes, I think then everyone starts trading for them because everyone's like, all right, now they're going to go. We've got to go and get them. I think this is just a case of teams going, you know what, we're just going to devalue the hell out of them, put them on low deals. And, you know, because Ridder and Howell and Willis are potential starters in the NFL, and you are now going to be getting them on third-round rookie contracts. How cheap is that? If one of them works out, if one of them even becomes just a serviceable quarterback at this level, what does that do for your cap? Wonders for it. And I think now that it might be a concerted effort just to devalue the players. But I mean, they're not. Yeah. I would be after we've done this, you know, after all this is said and done and we're on the pods after this, I might go back and look through previous drafts and see what sort of quarterback was available at this point. I think I'd be willing to bet you could go back probably as far back as you want and there wouldn't be quarterbacks of this caliber still sat here with no one wants.
Apparently, the Colts pick is in after this one as well already.
So who's next? Seahawks.
Seahawks
So Colts-
picking.
Colts
Seahawks
could
picking
go-
now. Their pick is in, and the Colts pick is in straight after that as well.
So
And then
this
it's
could be a
Atlanta.
running quarterbacks.
Yeah, because you still got Atlanta as well.
Yeah, because the Colts, I mean, they've got Ryan, but it's not a long-term fix. That's a 2-3 year thing. You can still take a rookie now and sit him,
Right.
especially on a third-round contract.
I've got the Seahawks pick. Finally, someone that kind of makes sense.
Wow, they've double dipped on tackle.
And I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like
good
that
fit.
too.
But
It tells you that, like I say, that they're going. I think they're going to give Geno Smith the best chance they can to hold the fort down for a year.
Isn't it weird though that they've waited till Russell's left to
upgrade the
that
O-line.
offensive line? Because they could have done that with Russell this year. None of the picks that they've received as part of the deal for him, I think,
Yeah.
make up these picks they've had so far. So why
But-
have you not protected him for all these years?
So the reason is, and I was listening to PFF talk about this before, and I buy the argument, is when you pay a superstar quarterback whose key skill is elusiveness, that only makes sense if you're asking them to be elusive, which means not spending money on O-line and giving them weapons so that when the play breaks down, they have weapons to get the ball to. When you have a cap and you can't spend willy-nilly, if you have an elusive quarterback, you spend on weapons, not on the O-line. Whereas now, because the quarterback needs an O-line to succeed, they're spending on O-line, but they'll have less weapons to do so, and they're basically just doing what they can do to win, either way. That's the argument, at least, and I kind of buy it.
But then you're going to piss off your quarterback when he's getting hit 50 times a season and eventually wants to leave, which is the reason why he wanted to leave.
Here we go. What the hell
Oh.
is this?
Oh.
Is it
No,
interpretive
no.
dance?
Yes.
Colts.
Here we go.
Another reach.
Oh!
Whoa!
So he's gone before Greg Dulcich, which amazes me.
I mean, you're betting on the